Good evening. Namaste and good evening. It's a privilege and honor, sir, to welcome Honorable Minister of State, Shri Harsh Malhotra ji, representing Minister of Corporate Affairs and Road Transport and Highways. I'm equally honored to welcome the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, the real creators, the nation builders for the real nation builders for this country. People who keep moving forward, often without spotlight, often without support, but always with a dream in their eyes. So this evening is dedicated to all of you. It's not only dedicated to the enterprises that you build, but to the courage, conviction, and the quite daily determination that you go through. This is our inaugural session of Visionaries of Viksit Bharat campaign, where we are felicitating some of the makers of this nation, the top enterprises, medium enterprises who've become the backbone of this country. This evening is dedicated to you because if India's vision of Viksit Bharat has to be achieved, the story cannot be written without the stories, talking about the stories of all of you in this room. Let me start, by just talking about India is at an inflection point, right? And we talk about our Prime Minister has the ambition of India to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047. And to reach that milestone, we cannot rely purely on consumption-based economy, right? I think that phase is over. We have to be an innovation-led economy where our ideas will become products, our products will become industries, and our industries will become global giants, taking on the global organizations head on. And there is a truth which actually we just heard about. There's something that we overlook, which is how do we become such a global giant, right? One, we talked about the missing middle. India is a very unique economy where our growth is being driven by very few, very large organizations and millions and hundreds of thousands of very small enterprises. And we do not have organizations which are in the middle, which we call as medium enterprises. And as you compare our economy with the other growing economies, our medium enterprises are half of the other emerging economies like China, Thailand, Vietnam, some of these organizations, some of these countries. Now, our challenge as a country is how do we make some of these small enterprises become medium enterprises, and then medium enterprises become large enterprises. Now, as we say, while it's easier said than done, and this is a McKinsey report in 2020 which talked about the missing middle of India, why this medium enterprise is important, because these are the enterprises which challenge the large organizations to grow faster and also are resilient enough to absorb the shocks of macroeconomics. So this is the middle layer which is extremely important for any economy to grow. And where we stand today, our entrepreneurs have always had grit, our enterprises always had the courage, but today, country also presents equal opportunity for this courage and grit to be multiplied. And if you look at what is India's advantage today, right? So I think we are the fastest growing large economy in the world, and all of you know. By 2030, our per capita GDP is expected to be doubled. It will be 5,000 USD. What does it mean? It means that it will unlock the world's largest middle class led consumption in the world. So this is massive growth. Add to it, 65% of our population is below 35, right? And this demographic dividend gives us advantage which can be our competitive advantage for next few decades. And needless to say, new industries are rising, right? We have defense technology, we are talking about renewable energy, we are talking about data centers, green technology. Now, these are not just sectors, these are factories of future. And India is positioning itself at the center of them. And this is extremely important. The bets that we have taken as a nation are in sectors which are futuristic in nature. But global environment is not easy, right? I think we have seen how macroeconomic shocks can really realign the entire economics of a country. There are supply chain disruptions which are happening, logistics costs which are increasing. We have trade challenges with many of the countries. right? Some of these challenges are very real for enterprises. But you know what's the good story? I think this is where India's strength is, and it's shining. The world may be volatile. India is standing at a very strong foundation. And why do I say that? Because I think there are a lot of investments coming from government, whether you talk about SIDBI, the PLI schemes. I think the government is backing these enterprises, medium enterprises. Second, I think the digital and physical infrastructure in this country, which is the backbone of any growing economy, is growing at a faster pace than any other country in the world. You talk about UPI, you talk about ONDC, you talk about the highways, roads that are being made, the ports which are being made. I think these are foundation of a growing economy, right? So as a country, there is an enabler which government is pushing us towards. Yes, the world is volatile. Global markets are shifting, but I think as a country, we have a huge advantage. And because we have the grid of the entrepreneurship, we have been growing, and we have the backing of infrastructure and global investments. While we have, great, and we said we have to be innovation-led economy, I want to talk about how we as an organization have been really partners to the young India in its mission for 30 years now. For 30 years, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with some of these mid-sized enterprises. 80% of our customers in India are medium enterprises. 60% of India's GDP touches an SAP system. So for us, SAP India is not a market, it's a mission. Because we have not only invested in India, for India to become, India's small enterprises to become global giants through technology enablement, but also by investing in India. We have invested in the largest innovation labs of the world by SAP in India, where 15,000 top best brilliant minds will be working. And some of the how we are helping some of the smaller Indian startups is using our technologies to help and take those technologies global. So this is our contribution to innovation of Indian enterprises, right? Second, I think we are also investing a lot in the talent, future-ready workforce. And we have been working with Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, we're working with Skill India movement to develop the AI-ready workforce of future. So this is something that as an organization, we have been contributing, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with the small and medium enterprises over years. So our vision is that, we want to be the economic architecture of Viksit Bharat. We want to be one of the enablers in this journey of India as a super giant. Moving on, our goal is to make organizations from good, which you already are, to great, and then to become unstoppable. And when I say that, it means that SAP is not about software. We want to democratize the access to technology, and that's our vision. As a company, we have given a lot to this country, and we have also gained a lot from this country, and this is something our endeavor through these campaigns to really show that the medium enterprises can be the leaders and they can create more entrepreneurs in this country. So this is something that we have tried to make through this campaign, these smaller organizations, the leaders, future leaders, how they've become unstoppable and how they share their story. Just a quick example of what we talk about, a very small, simple example, but a day in the life of a promoter for a small and medium enterprise. Right? Every day morning, you get up and you are having your daily struggles, right? Where is my operation? What is the production orders? Which supplier is supplying on time, not time? Which customers are getting angry? When will my payment come? All the issues. And through technology, possibly, we have seen that if you streamline your businesses, you have from the morning where you used to really struggle in the operation, find out what's happening. Today, early in the morning, you can know what the schedules are, where suppliers, delivery is coming, who are the customers who will pay me well on time. So by midday, you are in a position where you're not looking at operational hassles, but also building a brand for your organization. You're thinking strategic, right? So it's important as a promoter for you to have time on your hand. And this is something which technology can give, and once you have time in hand as a promoter, you can possibly think about innovation and future of your organization, which we call as becoming from a small to medium to large enterprises, right? So in the end, I just wanted to again thank and talk about why this the journey of Viksit Bharat starts as entrepreneurs and citizens of this country. It starts with us. I think as a team, as people, entrepreneurs of this country, we will build this country together, we will innovate together, we will scale together. I think we as a country need to move from being the workshop of the world to the innovation capital of the world. And this is where the journey, the technology can be one of the biggest enabler for you. And through this mission of Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, it's not just a campaign. We believe that it's a movement that we are trying to start, so that the stories of successful entrepreneurs can be learned by a budding entrepreneur who wants to start, let's say, a manufacturing company, a snacks company, who can talk to a large entrepreneur who's been very successful. And through this mission, we want to really say and tell them that this is how you build your large brand in future. And with this, I thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you for building India, and thank you for being the visionaries of Viksit Bharat. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Requesting you to please stay on stage. Thank you for highlighting the role of technology as an enabler for our growth story and how crucial it's going to be. Time now, ladies and gentlemen, to move to the highlight of our inaugural session, the conclave keynote address. Now, our nation's vision is steered by dynamic policy and transformative leadership, and he is a leader dedicated to connecting and driving the nation and steering India's digital future. With profound honor, we invite up on stage our chief guest for this evening, Shri Harsh Malhotra, Minister of State, Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Shri Harsh Malhotra. Requesting Shri Rajiv Singh to please present our chief guest with a shawl. Shri Harsh Malhotra ji, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out in between your busy schedule to be with us over here. We're just waiting for the other shawl to arrive, and then we will request you to say a few words for us. Okay. Right. Requesting you to please take the stage, sir. This is all yours.
Very good evening to everybody. विकसित भारत प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने अगर ये सपना सोचा कि 2047 में जब भारत अपनी आज़ादी के 100 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा होगा तो भारत विकसित होगा, डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में से एक होगा। पिछले 11 वर्षों में जो मोदी जी की सरकार ने किया, अगर मैं उसका कुछ ग्लिम्स आपको दूं तो आज़ादी के बाद से 65 वर्ष और ये 11 वर्ष, ये अपने आप में जो कंपैरिजन है वो अभूतपूर्व है। विकसित भारत पर ले जाने के लिए जो पैरामीटर्स हैं वो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, सोशल प्रोग्रेस, एनवायरमेंटल सस्टेनेबिलिटी, गुड गवर्नेंस, जो पिछले 11 सालों में हर डिपार्टमेंट में, हर फील्ड में जो कुछ भी हुआ, अगर मैं रोड हाईवेज की बात करता हूं तो 2014 से पहले देश के अंदर 92,000 किलोमीटर ऑफ नेशनल हाईवेज थे, लेकिन 11 वर्षों में 14 से लेकर के 25 तक लगभग 60,000 किलोमीटर का नेशनल हाईवे हमने 11 महीने में बना के दिया। आप सोच सकते हैं कि जो स्पीड एक डिपार्टमेंट नेशनल हाईवेज की, जो हमारा रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्ट्री है उसका एक डिपार्टमेंट है नेशनल हाईवे, उसकी स्पीड, और उसके साथ साथ अगर देखा जाए, मैं रेलवेज की बात करता हूं तो 150 से ज्यादा वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस अभी तक शुरू हो चुकी है, और आज देश का रेलवे नेटवर्क 95% से ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रेन से युक्त हो चुका। इसके साथ साथ ये वो स्फीयर्स हैं जो दिखते हैं बड़े हैं, लेकिन भारत 140 करोड़ का देश है, तो 140 करोड़ के 140 करोड़ लोगों के लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी का विजन उनके पहले दिन के प्रधानमंत्री पद की शपथ लेने के बाद से, उसी दिन से शुरू हुआ जब उन्होंने कहा कि मेरी ये सरकार देश के गरीबों को समर्पित सरकार होगी, और उसके लिए 200 से ज्यादा योजनाएं प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्रारंभ की, जो मोदी जी की सरकार ने न केवल योजनाएं प्रारंभ की बट उनका इंप्लीमेंटेशन और वो ग्राउंड लेवल तक पहुंचे, इसकी मॉनिटरिंग भी बहुत मुस्तैदी से हुई। जब पहला वक्तव्य प्रधानमंत्री जी ने लाल किले से दिया तो उन्होंने दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बातें की, बहुत साधारण बातें थी। एक, स्वच्छता अभियान की बात की, और दूसरा, उन्होंने आधार कार्ड को बैंक अकाउंट के साथ जोड़ने की बात की। तो उस समय के विपक्ष ने इस बात को बड़ा सार्केस्टिकली लिया कि प्रधानमंत्री लाल किले के प्राचीर से इनको इंटरनेशनल बात करनी चाहिए, इनको अमेरिका, जापान, पाकिस्तान के रिलेशंस की बात करनी चाहिए, पर प्रधानमंत्री जी स्वच्छता अभियान की बात करते हैं। लेकिन आप देखिए, उस स्वच्छता अभियान के कारण देश के अंदर 11 करोड़ से ज्यादा शौचालय गांवों में जो ओपन डेफिकेशन हुआ करता था, एक तो वो खत्म होता है, उससे उस स्वच्छता के कारण बीमारियां भी दूर होती हैं, और नारी का सम्मान भी उन्होंने उस बात से किया। ये एक स्वच्छता अभियान का भी एक पार्ट है। और अगर मैं बात करूं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आधार कार्ड को बैंक अकाउंट के साथ जोड़ने की बात की थी, तो उस आधार कार्ड के साथ जो बैंक अकाउंट जोड़ा, उसके साथ उन्होंने मोबाइल भी जोड़ा, जिसके कारण से आज भारत का जो डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन है वो पूरे विश्व का 48% से अधिक हो गया है। पूरे देश का 48% से अधिक का डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन आज भारत में हो रहा है, जो कि एक बड़ा काम है इस बात के लिए। जब भारत के बारे में हम ये बात करते हैं, अपने देश के बारे में ये बात करते हैं कि वी आर द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी, और आज हम विश्व की चौथी बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बने हैं। तो ये जो पिछले 11 वर्षों में काम हुए, ये आधारशिला है, ये बेस है विकसित भारत 2047 की। इसमें आज अगर उस जर्नी को हम देखते हैं तो जब 2017 में जीएसटी आया, वन नेशन वन टैक्स की बात आई, तो उसका भी बहुत डिफरेंट ओपिनियन थे, मार्केट के भी, इंडस्ट्री के भी, अपोजिशन के भी। लेकिन वो इतना बड़ा गेम चेंजर साबित होता है भारत की इकोनॉमी की डेवलपमेंट में कि इस कारण से भारत चौथी बड़ी इकोनॉमी बनता है, और हम अपना पर कैपिटा इनकम 67% बढ़ा पाते हैं पिछले 11 सालों के अंदर, और हमारा जो टोटल एक्सपोर्ट है आज 825 बिलियन US डॉलर का हुआ है। इन सब बातों के कारण जिसमें कंट्रीब्यूटर्स और भी हैं जो मैं बताऊंगा आपको, 25 करोड़ लोग गरीबी रेखा से बाहर आते हैं। आज से पहले 2014 से पहले जो भी सरकार आई, सबने गरीबी हटाओ की बात की, पर वो गरीबी नहीं हटी, गरीब हटे। लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी के 11 वर्षों की गवर्नेंस के कारण हमारे देश में 25 करोड़ लोग गरीबी रेखा से बाहर आते हैं। आज जो छोटा व्यापारी है और छोटा है, छोटा व्यापारी के अलावा, एमएसएमई के अलावा जो रेडी पटरी वाला है, अगर उसको मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में ऐड किया तो इस डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन ने ऐड किया। और आप सोचिए कि आज आप सब्जी वाले के पास, रेडी वाले के पास सब्जी लेने जाते हैं और उसको आप डिजिटल पेमेंट करते हैं, तो वो पैसा उसके बैंक में जाता है। वो टाइम था जब रेडी वाला अपने पैसे को, जो भी वो खरीदता या बेचता था, बैंक की हवा ही नहीं लगती थी। तो जब एक टाइनी, स्मॉल भी बहुत छोटा है, टाइनी बिजनेसमैन का पैसा बैंक में जा रहा है, तो वो मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में आ रहा है। उसके साथ साथ जो प्रधानमंत्री जी की योजनाओं का मैंने जिक्र किया, उसमें अगर बात करूं तो रेडी पटरी वालों के लिए स्वनिधि योजना शुरू की। हो सकता है आप में से बहुत से लोगों को पता भी नहीं हो। वो स्वनिधि योजना इतनी छोटी योजना है, लेकिन इतनी यूजफुल योजना है कि 10,000 रुपए, 20,000 रुपए या 50,000 रुपए अभी उसको किया, उसमें उस रेडी पटरी वालों को लोन मिल सकता है बिना किसी गारंटी के, और उसको वो इजी इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में पे कर पाता है। तो उसके लिए एक 10,000 रुपए शायद एक एमएसएमई के लिए भी लगता हो कि क्या 10,000 रुपए, लेकिन मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में जाने के लिए वो स्वनिधि योजना और डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन एक छोटे व्यापारी की या टाइनी व्यापारी की, ये उसमें बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करती है। और जब फोन, आधार कार्ड और बैंक को जोड़ते हैं, जिसके कारण से डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन पूरे विश्व का 48% हम कर पा रहे हैं, और इसमें ऐसा 2014 से पहले अगर आपको बैंक का खाता किसी गरीब आदमी को भी खुलवाना है तो 500,000 रुपए का मिनिमम डिपॉजिट और किसी की गारंटी की आवश्यकता थी। लेकिन जनधन योजना के कारण से जीरो बैलेंस अकाउंट, जिसका आज तक बैंक में खाता नहीं है, उसको खोलने को मिला। और अगर आपको पता नहीं होगा तो आपको आश्चर्य होगा कि लगभग 57 करोड़ खाते जनधन अकाउंट के जीरो बैलेंस के पिछले 11 सालों में खुले हैं। तो इतना बड़ा अमाउंट, इतने बड़े अमाउंट ऑफ अकाउंट्स, और उसके अंदर का जो मनी है वो मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में जाता है। मुद्रा योजना के अंतर्गत छोटे से छोटे व्यापारी के लिए भी लोन की व्यवस्था, जो छोटा व्यापारी मतलब 1 लाख, 2 लाख, 5 लाख, 20 लाख, उसके लिए लोन की व्यवस्था, इंस्टॉलमेंट्स और विदाउट गारंटी। तो ये कुछ बातें जो बेसिक्स हैं, जिसके कारण से आज भारत की इकोनॉमी वर्ल्ड की फास्टेस्ट इकोनॉमी में गई है। अगर मैं बात करूं कि एमएसएमईज, कंपनीज, लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप एंगेजमेंट्स, तो उसमें भी आज अभी जो प्रेजेंटेशन आपने देखा उसमें फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात भी है। लेकिन आज किसी को सॉरी, मेरा गला बहुत खराब है। आज नेशनल सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम, किसी को अपनी कंपनी देश में खोलनी है तो नेशनल सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम, जिसमें 32 सेंट्रल डिपार्टमेंट्स की अप्रूवल सिंगल विंडो पे मिलती है और 34 स्टेट्स में मिलती है। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है, जिसके कारण से आज किसी को भी हमारे देश में अपनी इंडस्ट्री लगानी है, उसका एक मैं आपको बहुत पॉपुलर उदाहरण बताऊं। जब वेस्ट बंगाल में टाटा को नैनो की फैक्ट्री लगाने के लिए मना कर दिया गया, तो प्रधानमंत्री जी का एक SMS दैट यू आर वेलकम इन गुजरात, और उसके बाद वो फैक्ट्री गुजरात में लगती है। तो आप सोचिए, जहां वो फैक्ट्री लगी, पूरे राज्य की बात ना करूं तो मैं उस सिटी की बात करूं, तो वहां पर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, वहां पर इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ। तो ये माइंडसेट है कि हमें अपने देश को अगर 2047 तक विकसित करना है तो उसके लिए आत्मनिर्भर बनना सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है, स्वदेशी होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। इसके साथ साथ टेक्नोलॉजी सेवी होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, जो कि मोदी जी की सरकार ने इन ऑल फ्रंट्स हैव डन रिमार्केबली वेल इन ऑल द डिपार्टमेंट्स, इन ऑल द मिनिस्ट्रीज। आज किसी कंपनी को इनकॉर्पोरेट करना है, इनकॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ द कंपनी होना है, तो एक समय था जब 2 महीने, 3 महीने, 6 महीने इनकॉर्पोरेशन में लगते थे। जो कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री है, उसमें सबसे पहले 2017 में अपना एक पोर्टल शुरू किया जिसमें फेसलेस ट्रांजैक्शंस एज वेल एज फेसलेस सबमिशन ऑफ द फॉर्म्स और गवर्नेंस फॉर द कंपनीज शुरू हुआ। आज अगर किसी को अपनी कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट करनी है तो फॉर्म्स सबमिट करने के बाद 48 आवर्स में वो कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट होती है। न केवल इनकॉर्पोरेट होती है, बट 11 नेसेसरी डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स एंड मिनिस्ट्रीज के जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है उसको हमारा ये पोर्टल, हमारी ये मिनिस्ट्री करके देते हैं at the time of incorporation within 48 hours, so that the next day that company can start functioning. तो this is also ease of doing business में जो हम बात करते हैं, तो सिर्फ कहने की बात नहीं है। ease of doing business में corporate governance के लिए हमने maximum governance और minimum government की बात जब हम करते हैं तो ये practically हम field में भी करना चाहते हैं और करते भी हैं। इसके साथ साथ अगर मैं बात करूं कि आज किसी भी कारण से किसी कंपनी को एग्जिट करना है तो उसके लिए भी डिजिटल पोर्टल के अंदर डिजिटली दैट कैन बी डन, और वो भी बहुत इजी भी है और टाइम बाउंड भी है। इस तरह का बहुत से डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं जिनके अंदर हमने अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करते हुए ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को करके दिया है। अगर मैं गति शक्ति की बात करूं तो गति शक्ति में आज जितने बड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के मिनिस्ट्रीज हैं उनको एक फोरम पे लेके आए। रोड बननी है, इसके साथ अगर कोई एनर्जी ट्रांसमिशन के टावर्स हैं, इसके साथ कोई रेलवे ट्रैक है, कहीं फ्लाईओवर बनना है, कहीं अंडरपास बनना है, या एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज हैं, तो जब कोई बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट टेकअप किया जाता है किसी भी बड़े डिपार्टमेंट का, रेलवे का हो, ट्रांसपोर्ट का हो, टेलीकम्युनिकेशन का हो, तो वो गति शक्ति पोर्टल पे डाला जाता है, जिसके कारण से सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स कम्युलेटिवली उसको व्यू करने के बाद, ताकि ऐसा नहीं हो कि रोड बनने के बाद जल बोर्ड वाले आए और उसको खोद के चले जाए। तो ये उदाहरण तो मैंने आपको बहुत स्मॉल उदाहरण दिया, बट इससे टाइम, पैसा, एफिशिएंसी सब बढ़ता है। एमएसएमई में अगर देखा जाए तो आज सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट वेंचर्स में 35% सब्सिडी एमएसएमईज के लिए है। 5 करोड़ तक कोलेट्रल फ्री लोन की बात है। ये सब वो बातें हैं जो विकसित भारत के लिए एक आधारशिला बनी है, एक आधार बनी है भारत को विकसित करने के लिए। आप लोगों को अगर ध्यान हो तो 2014 से पहले हमारे देश में केवल 3 फैक्ट्रीज थी जो मोबाइल बनाती थी। आज अगर हम स्वदेशी की बात करते हैं या आत्मनिर्भरता की बात करते हैं तो 11 सालों में 300 फैक्ट्रीज आज हमारे देश में मोबाइल बना रही हैं। तो ये स्वदेशी है। बाहर की एप्पल हमारे देश में अगर फैक्ट्री लगा करके एप्पल का मोबाइल बन रहा है तो वो मेक इन इंडिया है, मेड इन इंडिया है। उससे भारत के लोगों का पसीना और भारत की मिट्टी की महक है। उसमें जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हो रही है वो भारतीयों की हो रही है। इस कारण से हमने सरकार की तरफ से भी सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम जो शुरू किए ताकि फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स, फॉरेन कंपनीज भारत में आकर के डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट करें और अल्टीमेटली वो इंडियन मार्केट को एनहांस करने वाला है। अगर मैं बात करूं आत्मनिर्भरता की या मैं सोसाइटी की बात करूं तो आज जहां झुग्गी वहां मकान नाम की जो स्कीम भारत की सरकार की है उसमें 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों को रहने के लिए बहुत कम पैसे पे मकान मिलता है। प्रधानमंत्री जी को यह समझ में आया जब वो अपने युवा काल में थे कि उनकी माता बहन चूल्हे पर लकड़ी जला के रोटी बनाती है और उससे उनके लंग्स की बीमारियां होती हैं, तो वो बात उनके दिमाग में रहने के कारण आज 11 करोड़ माताओं बहनों को उज्ज्वला योजना के फ्री के सिलेंडर्स और चूल्हा मिलता है। 11 करोड़ टॉयलेट्स पूरे देश भर में बनते हैं किसी के घर में या सार्वजनिक टॉयलेट्स। आपको जान के हैरानी होगी 2014 से पहले 18,000 देश के गांव में लाइट नहीं थी। अभी यहां लाइट चली जाए तो आधा मिनट 1 मिनट जो जनरेटर को शिफ्ट करने में लगता है तो सब लोगों को लगता है ये क्या हुआ। मेट्रो सिटीज में तो अब लाइट जाने वाली बात ही नहीं है। शायद हम में से बहुत से लोगों को बिना लाइट के कैसे जीवन जिया जाता है सोचा भी नहीं होगा। पर 2014 से पहले की बात कर रहा हूं, 2014 तक की बात कर रहा हूं, 18,000 गांव में लाइट नहीं थी। तो प्रधानमंत्री जी की सरकार, मोदी जी की सरकार ने यह तय किया कि पहले 5 साल में इन सब गांवों में लाइट जानी चाहिए। आप सोचिए, लाइट नहीं है तो इंटरनेट नहीं है, लाइट नहीं है तो कंप्यूटर नहीं है, इसके बिना तो आज जिंदगी ही नहीं है। तो 4 साल के अंदर 18,000 गांव में लाइट भी गई और उसके बाद का टारगेट कि हर घर में बल्ब जलना चाहिए वो अगले 4 साल में पूरा होता है। ये बेसिक है भारत को विकसित करने के लिए। अगर आधारभूत मूलभूत सुविधाएं ही हम 140 करोड़ देशवासियों को नहीं दे पाएंगे तो हम विकसित भारत का सपना भी कैसे ले पाएंगे। कोविड में पूरा विश्व थरथर कांप रहा था और केवल 3 देश ऐसे थे जो कोविड की वैक्सीन बना सकते थे, पर प्रधानमंत्री जी ने नेतृत्व दिया और ये डिसाइड किया कि हम वैक्सीन अपने देश में बनाएंगे। 9-10 महीने के अंदर अंदर 2 कंपनीज से उसमें डिपार्टमेंट्स लगे, मिनिस्ट्रीज लगी, प्राइवेट कंपनीज लगी, हमारे साइंटिस्ट लगे, जिसके कारण से 9-10 महीने के अंदर अंदर 2 कंपनीज का वैक्सीन आया। मैं उसका इंपैक्ट बताना चाहता हूं। इंपैक्ट वैक्सीन लगने से हमारी जान बची वो एक अलग बात है। 220 करोड़ डोजेज आपको हमें लगी हैं, हमारे देश में हमारे लोगों को लगी हैं। 160 कंट्रीज में भारत की बनी हुई वैक्सीन विदेशों में भेजी हमने और जिसमें से 55 कंट्रीज को फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट भेजी। आज जो इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस प्रधानमंत्री के एक फोन पर या जाने पर हमें ऐसा लगता है कि दीज कंट्रीज आर विद इंडिया, उसका ये वन ऑफ द मेन रीजन इज दिस। इस तरह की और भी बहुत सी बातें हैं। और आपको जान के हैरानी होगी, अगर ये वैक्सीन हमारे देश में ना बनती तो हमें ये इंपोर्ट करनी पड़ती। तो एक इंजेक्शन जो आपको हमें लगा उसकी कॉस्ट 20,000 होती। कौन बियर करता है एक अलग बात है, चाहे सरकार करती तो इकोनॉमी पे बोझ पड़ता, आप और हम करते तो हमारे ऊपर बोझ पड़ता। 3-3 डोज लगी, 60,000 पर पर्सन, एक घर में 4-5 आदमी एवरेज। आप सोचिए 3-3.5 लाख रुपए गरीब आदमी कहां से लाता, कितनी फैसिलिटीज होती। तो ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत प्रधानमंत्री जी ने तब से सोचना शुरू किया, उससे पहले से सोचना शुरू किया। ये जो मैंने आपको बताया ये सब विकसित भारत 2047 तक होना चाहिए, तभी सोच पाती है गवर्नमेंट जब मूलभूत सुविधाएं हम अपने देश को दे पाते हैं। मैं रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करूं तो आज 2014 से पहले जो हाईवेज बनने की स्पीड थी वो 12 किलोमीटर पर डे थी, आज वो बढ़ के 33 किलोमीटर पर डे हुई है। और ये रोड्स सिर्फ कंक्रीट की रोड्स नहीं है, ये देश की इकोनॉमी की रोड है। आज 1 रुपया जो हम रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर खर्च करते हैं वो भारत की जीडीपी में 3% का एडिशन करता है। कैसे करता है? आपने प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना सुना होगा। 2014 से पहले उसके अंतर्गत 3.5 लाख किलोमीटर की रोड्स थीं। अगले 11 सालों में 14 से 25 तक अनदर 4 लाख किलोमीटर ऑफ प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना में रोड्स बनती हैं। और उसका फायदा इकोनॉमी में डायरेक्ट कैसे होता है कि जो गांव की प्रोड्यूस सिटी तक, मार्केट तक पहुंचने में 12 घंटे, 14 घंटे, 16 घंटे लिया करती थी और वो खराब भी हो जाती थी। विशेष तौर से बात करूं तो मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स की, फलों की, सब्जियों की। ग्रामीण सड़क योजना के 7.5 लाख किलोमीटर के नेटवर्क के कारण आज देश में एक भी गांव ऐसा नहीं है, आई एम सेइंग एक भी गांव ऐसा नहीं है जो किसी हाईवे या सिटी से 100 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा दूर हो। मतलब मैक्सिमम 2-2.5 घंटे में, 3 घंटे में गांव का प्रोडक्ट मार्केट तक और हाईवे तक पहुंचता है, जिसके कारण से हमारा ग्रामीण गांव वाले लोग, वो लोग भी सुदृढ़ हो रहे हैं और मेन स्ट्रीम इकोनॉमी में जा रहे हैं। तो और इसके अलावा अगर मैं एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी की बात करूं तो पिछले 10 साल में 17 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने रजिस्टर किया ईपीएफ में, जो प्रोविडेंट फंड में जो भी जिसकी भी जॉब लगेगी, एम्प्लॉय होगा, अल्टीमेटली वो प्रोविडेंट फंड में उनका रजिस्ट्रेशन होगा। तो 17 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने प्रोविडेंट फंड के पोर्टल पर रजिस्टर किया। और जो 2022 से प्रधानमंत्री जी ने रोजगार मेलों को प्रारंभ किया, जिसमें एक बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म्स कि एक लेवल तक इंटरव्यूज नहीं होंगे, रिटर्न एग्जाम के बेस पर सरकारी नौकरी लगेगी, तो उसके कारण से आज तक 11 लाख युवाओं को देश की सरकारी नौकरियों में इनकलकेट किया गया। मैं रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट में एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी की अगर बात करता हूं तो पिछले 5 साल में 550 करोड़ मैन डेज, 550 करोड़ मैन डेज का एम्प्लॉयमेंट केवल रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ने, रोड हाईवेज के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ने डेवलप किया है। उनको हमने जॉब्स दी हैं, जिसके कारण से वो युवा या वो व्यक्ति भी मेन स्ट्रीम में आता है, इकोनॉमी को सुदृढ़ करता है। मेरे पास बताने के लिए अभी 5-6 पेज और भी हैं, पर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आज TV9 ने जो एक विजनरीज फॉर विकसित भारत के नाम से यहाँ कार्यक्रम किया है, इसकी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत भी है, सो दैट कि जो लोग विकसित भारत के लिए सोचते हैं कि कैसे भारत विकसित होगा, कैसे अफोर्डेबल एजुकेशन होगी, कैसे हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में और हर गरीब आदमी तक सरकार के द्वारा हेल्थ योजना पहुंच पाएगी। जिसका एक उदाहरण अगर मैं दूं आपको, तो आयुष्मान भारत योजना वो योजना है जिसमें किसी भी गरीब आदमी को 5 लाख रुपए 1 साल में किसी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में इलाज फ्री है। और इसके ऊपर जब 2024 में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इस योजना को बढ़ाया तो 70 साल से ऊपर का कोई भी व्यक्ति, अमीर हो गरीब हो, वो किसी के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट नहीं रहे, उसको भी इस योजना में इनकलकेट किया। मतलब 70 साल से ऊपर के किसी भी व्यक्ति के लिए आज 5 लाख रुपए का इलाज सरकार प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है। और दिल्ली में, क्योंकि दिल्ली वालों के आशीर्वाद की वजह से दिल्ली में भी बीजेपी की सरकार आई है, हमने तो दिल्ली में इसको 10 लाख तक का इलाज फ्री किया है। तो ये वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा हेल्थ एश्योरेंस है, ये इंश्योरेंस नहीं है, एक भी पैसा किसी से नहीं लिया जाता। ये विश्व का सबसे बड़ा हेल्थ एश्योरेंस है और ये विकसित भारत की आधारशिला है। आप लोग आज इस समिट में यहां पहुंचे हैं, मुझे लगता है कि दिल्ली में कुछ चुनाव चल रहा है जिसके कारण से मुझे तो अभी तुरंत निकलना है, पर आई होप कि TV9 का ये इनिशिएटिव विकसित भारत की विज़न को लेकर के, और विजनरीज यहाँ पर हैं, आप लोग कुछ अच्छा और ठीक विज़न के साथ, डिस्कशंस के साथ, ठीक विज़न के साथ आएंगे और कोई ऐसी रिपोर्ट अगर आप सरकार को देंगे तो उसमें से हमें जो कुछ भी लगेगा कि वो वर्थ है भारत को विकसित करने में, आपकी विज़न अगर काम आएगी तो सरकार को भी अच्छा लगेगा और आप लोग भी एक बड़ा पार्ट होंगे भारत को विकसित करने के लिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भारत माता की जय।
Thank you very much, Minister, for that powerful and very clear roadmap from road connectivity to single window clearance, from the role of infrastructure in GDP and health infra to be particular. I think the Minister truly honored us with his vision and his presence, and we now request you, sir, to stay on stage for the next 5 minutes, please.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now to felicitate our visionaries of Viksit Bharat. We're honoring enterprises whose vision and execution are truly building this Viksit Bharat. It's time to celebrate them. So, requesting the Minister to please be on stage, and also request Mr. Paritosh Chaturvedi, Managing Editor of TV9 Bharat, to please take the stage in felicitating, and requesting Mr. Rajiv Singh
to please also join
Vice
us
President
on
and Head
stage.
Corporate and Partner-Driven SAP Indian Subcontinent, to please take the stage as well. All right, it's time now. I'm going to begin by inviting a man who is leading one of India's fastest growing homegrown appliance brands. His relentless commitment and vision have transformed Inflame from an idea into a name that powers millions of Indian homes. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Amit Kaushik of Inflame Appliances, promoter and CEO. Time now for the next visionary of Viksit Bharat. We have a leader who has built one of India's most trusted lifestyle and consumer good brands. He has elevated the company with global standards, innovative thinking, and a relentless commitment to premium quality. Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than Mr. Ashok Sawhney of Swiss Military Consumer Goods. But let's invite on stage Mr. Vijay Kalra, CFO of Swiss Military Consumer Goods, to please take the stage. And he's accompanied by Mr. Rajneesh Dutt. Time now for the next visionary of Viksit Bharat. We have a leader driving agility, innovation, and global standards in India's mobility ecosystem. He has been instrumental in strengthening Goodyear's footprint across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arvind Bhandari, CMD, Goodyear India Limited.
Huge round of applause, please. We are celebrating the visionaries of Viksit Bharat.
That's right. Up next is a leader whose leadership has seen IIL rise to become one of India's top 10 agrochemical companies. Mr. Rajesh Agarwal of Insecticides India Limited, Managing Director. Up next, let's now welcome a trailblazer in India's electronics manufacturing landscape. He has built Dixon from the ground up to the nation's leading EMS leader, Mr. Atul Lal of Dixon Technologies. Requesting Mr. Sai Prithviraj, Deputy General Manager, Dixon Technologies, to please take the stage. Right, and finally we have one more visionary of Viksit Bharat left, I think. That's right, we have the driving force behind some of India's most critical highways and infrastructure projects, Mr. B.S. Singla, Director, Gawar Construction Limited. A huge round of applause for all the visionaries of Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much, Minister
Thank
Harsh
you,
Malhotra.
sir.
Thank you so much for taking time out and being patient with us. Thank you, Paritosh Chaturvedi ji as well. And of course, thank you, Rajiv Singh ji as well.
Thank you, all of you. This is the first set of felicitation, and we will be beginning with a very first panel in just a short while from now. But
That's right.
We are honoring a plethora of people today,
That's
Krishna. And you know, from home appliances to a company which is homegrown by the way of Swiss military. There is a whole host of leaders. We're covering every arena possible.
Well, absolutely. That's the power of mid-sized companies. They are sector agnostic, field agnostic, you know, some of them doing such stellar, exemplary work. And, you know, it's our honor to be, you know, recognizing them and then putting them under the spotlight. We will continue to do so. What Shweta is alluding to is the fact that we're not done with the round of felicitations. We have one more round of felicitations for the evening. We have another minister attending the evening as well. So we are, you know, holding on to that. But before all of that, we have some really fun conversations, interesting, thought-provoking conversations, isn't it, Shweta?
The next conversation, which I'm excited about, is going to be on artificial intelligence. And we know Krishna will be moderating that panel. Krishna, what are you hoping to get? We hear so much about artificial intelligence. We hear about how it's changing the face of business. It's also changing journalism, for that matter. So what are you hoping to understand here from, you know, some of these visionaries who are incorporating artificial intelligence, but many of them are also scared of what AI will do to businesses going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it is the classic conundrum of a threat and an opportunity. So I want to know how they are using the opportunity. You know, so many companies integrate AI or set about budgets to integrate AI into their business, but not everybody, you know, pulls it through. You don't see enough return on investment on artificial intelligence. I want to know what kind of tools they are using, what is producing results, what is changing, because the conversation around AI is all invariably about generative AI, right? And it's about your ChatGPTs of the world, it's about your Google Geminis, but what would be interesting to hear from them is how they are using AI. How individually for their case, individual cases, you know, AI is being deployed and it's producing results.
And you know, I think one of the SAP representatives here, senior leaders can correct me, but we expect companies, mid-sized, to use about 3% of their total bottom line into technology. Is that correct number? 3%? 2 to 3%. And you know, from our conversations with various mid-sized leaders, we realized India is not doing that number just as yet. So what is keeping businesses from investing heavily in technology? I think that's also a conversation we will be beginning very, very shortly.
That's right, and we have that conversation and one more, which Shweta will be moderating. Shweta, that's all about the homegrown businesses in the countries, in the family businesses of the country, isn't it?
And I'm very hopeful that young people are going to change the way businesses have been operating. So we have a very interesting lineup for that panel, where I want to understand what our young leaders who are going to carry forward their legacies will change by the way of adoption of AI, adoption of technology.
That's right, and also one of the pillars of the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat campaign is succession planning or business planning. How are they going about doing that? Because that's a tricky one, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think all of those conversations will begin very, very shortly. But let's now kick off our next panel. We now shift our focus to the future. Our very first panel, ladies and gentlemen, will dive into the disruption and opportunities that artificial intelligence is creating for both mid-sized companies and large enterprises. The title of the next session will be Indian Businesses, Are Indian Businesses Ready for AI-conic Leap or an Iconic Leap, as we say. I would like now to invite our moderator and distinguished panelists to the stage. Moderator for the session, my colleague Krishna Kumar. Also joining us would be Mosam, founding head, Yardi School of Artificial Intelligence from IIT Delhi. Abhishek Sahi, Head of Customer Advisory, Corporate SAP Indian Subcontinent. Arvind Bhandari, MD Goodyear. Saurabh Sitaram, co-founder Keventers and CEO, as well as co-founder of First Coffee, will be with us in just a short while from now. The stage is yours, Krishna.
All right, so we're good to go. We will not waste any time and get this conversation started. I'm going to begin by asking you a very simple, straightforward question. So much it gets spoken about AI. The bigger question when it comes to companies, at least, is that how does one use AI to reduce inefficiencies? How does one use AI to scale your business? How does one use AI to be of a global standard? And that is as a journey that Indian companies, not just mid-sized companies, all kinds of companies are on right now, isn't it? So in your perspective, I want to ask you, begin by telling us, where do you think the opportunity in AI lies for companies in India?
Am I audible?
You can take this one.
Hello. Okay, this is working finally. Thank you for the question, and thank you very much for inviting me for this panel. It's fun to talk about these issues. But let me put the question back to you. Where do you think AI is not applicable today? And this is how we often start thinking about these questions, because we are in a sort of game of frenzy, if you may, right? We are in a place where pretty much everybody is excited about applying AI. All the students coming into the computer science department want to do AI. Everybody is taking AI classes. Everybody wants to essentially be the next AI leader. So the question then is there a place we cannot apply AI? If you think about education, there's a way to understand each of our students better through AI. If you think about healthcare, there is a way to, improve the sort of productivity of a radiologist, or think about the doctors and the lack thereof in villages. If you think about, basically, if you even think about train network, you were talking about roads and so on, there is a way to use AI to figure out where the next road should be made, or is the road high quality enough for maintenance of infrastructure. Basically, if you think about any discipline, people are using AI to generate new recipes in food science. People are using AI to come up with personalized fitness plans. People are using AI in each and every domain. Okay. So I don't think the question is, where should I use AI? I think the question is, how should I use AI, and what are the right mechanisms through which AI should really be made successful? Because there's a lot of excitement, but we are not really thinking carefully about the mechanisms.
That's right. We're not carefully thinking about mechanisms. We're also right now thinking of a global governance structure for artificial intelligence. At least the Prime Minister himself has called for it at the G20 summit as well. We have Sohrab as well joining us. Thank you so much for being with us. Stay with us. Right moment for you to join, actually, because I'm still curious to know, how are businesses like yours? You're in the mobility space. How are businesses like yours, Indian businesses, rooted in India, born in India, bred in India businesses? How are you, using AI to scale, to create more efficiencies, and for automation as well?
So Goodyear is a global company, so it gets the best of tech for the Indian roads. What does AI do for you? Let me answer simply 3 areas. First, to understand the consumer. When you need a tire which runs long, right? But you also want a tire which has good grip, which has comfort, and so on. And some of these things actually can't be delivered in one tire, because the law of physics don't allow you to get one without losing the other. What we are doing now is using AI to understand what the consumer is asking for and optimize. Right? So the SUV that you today go in, you want it to go very well, very far, and AI helps you do that. And also at the far end, to measure consumer satisfaction and create new solutions for future. So AI is able to do that intensively and extensively, meaning it is able to profile different consumers and give them what they want.
I was only asking you, because how do you do it in India here, with Goodyear India? Anything specific that you can tell us?
I'll give you a specific example right off. How many guys own EVs here, electric vehicles? Now, okay, a few hands, but in a couple of years, there'll be just about everybody. And, the one thing that I can tell you is that nobody knew, then when you put an EV engine, what is your biggest problem? You want, more than anything else, noiselessness. Because the minute you replace the combustible engine with the EV engine, the noise is gone, and what bothers you is the sound of the tire against the road. So Goodyear designed with analytics, before it even came to the consumer's notice, a noiseless tire, which was never the need before. So AI helps you anticipate the problem and give solutions even before consumer have got to a problem.
Okay, that's as far as the tire business is concerned. So you have a business that's at the intersection of technology and taste, so to speak, and then how do you use AI? From everything from recommending flavors to consumers, to customers, to predicting what they would already like.
First of all, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
First
please.
of all, yeah, my apologies for coming late. Yeah.
No problem. Please go ahead.
Very sorry. Okay. Look, currently we're still in the state where we're trying to learn a lot about AI. Okay. I mean, we have options like ChatGPT where literally everybody is going and learning whatever. But the thing is that, yeah, we've used technology quite well now. So when we're talking about personalization, that's one. It's pretty much similar answers, but let me, in food and beverage, it's a little different. So personalization, we get to figure out, we can figure out personalization based on day parts, which we call, either morning, afternoon, evening, people based on seasonality. A lot of that, because winters, people want something else, summers, people want something else. So we use it for personalization. Pretty similar thing, yeah, demand forecast. Trying to figure out R&D. I think R&D is something which has really helped us. We also try to marry both AI as well, by AI giving prompts to customers or to the servers who further ask based on the prompts given by AI. So lots of things, yeah. I think overall it's really been a blessing in disguise. Overall, I'll say it's just made our life easier. It's just much faster. What we're taking 100 days to do, I think we're doing in like 4 or 5 days. So overall, I think our speed is quick now.
You're calling it a blessing in disguise. What is the disguise to me?
That we're still trying to learn. Now, predictability, whenever you come up with something or, an AI replies to a guest, the guest says this is ChatGPT generated, yeah. You don't have your soul in it, right?
Okay. Okay, fair enough. At this stage, I want to, good to have this, as a base before I talk to you, Abhishek. SAP is a company that works so closely with mid-sized companies in this country. 80% of your business comes from there. And you've worked with companies to the length and breadth of the country and the entire spectrum of sectors possible. And MIT study says that 80% of companies invest in AI, but only, and a lot of which, 75 to 80% don't see enough ROI on AI. What are the concerns that you've seen when it comes to adopting AI, adopting cutting edge technologies in terms of trust and adoption and more importantly, business impact?
First of all, thank you so much. I think it's an honor to be in front of such a distinguished audience. I mean, just to answer your question, you're absolutely right. I think that's exactly what we're hearing. I think specifically in the audience that we have, which are promoters and all, and of course business leaders, the biggest issue right now is trust. Because AI eventually works on data, and that data has to be trusted. And that's where probably an organization like SAP actually comes into the forefront. Why? Because data which SAP produces generally is more auditable. That's where you do all your audits. Those are transactions and data which have been approved by the business itself, so that information is trustable. I think I've heard a lot with the panelists as well, and it's eventually all about trust. You talked about trust as of now as well. So that's the biggest challenge that we hear from businesses. How do we trust whether the information or the output that an AI is generating, whether we can trust on that, whether we can completely offload our decision making to that AI model? Because delegation probably for leaders is the toughest to do, because many leaders are grounded, they take decisions day in and day out, and it's very difficult to suddenly delegate those decisions to an AI model. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that we hear. Can we trust that data? Can we trust that decision? So that's what we hear every day.
Mawsam, how do we bridge that gap? How do we fill up that trust deficit?
Yeah, so before I talk about the trust, let me take a step back and talk about the MIT study itself.
Okay.
So it actually found something very interesting. It said that there was a frenzy. I mean, these are my words, not theirs. But I was also on sabbatical last year at Bloomberg. So some of this I saw in New York. So some of this I saw firsthand in the company. See, when AI started happening, or basically GPT-4 became mainstream, people started taking notice. Pretty much there was a race on thinking about how does it apply in their setting, right? And the word was, they will create demonstrations, initial demonstrations, right? POCs. And then basically, they were not necessarily people who were trained in AI. See, we are now saying that AI can be used by anybody. It's democratized. But is it, right? So in most of those companies, they were not the Googles of the world, because Googles of the world have been using AI for a very long time, and they continue to use. They will not say that 90% of our projects don't really give return on investment. That it's the other companies which were generally giving out projects to these big tech companies, and they didn't have the AI personnel of their own companies. Now, when you suddenly say that, look, AI has come in this shape and form, go ahead and use it and create POCs, these are not people who are necessarily deep enough in AI who will create these POCs. Now, what happens because of that is that there are issues at every level. There are issues at the definition of the problem, what tasks today should be done by AI and what not should be done by AI today. That's a question that somebody who is aware of AI needs to answer. How will I evaluate the success of AI? Am I looking at bottom line improvement within 6 months, or should I be looking at some productivity increase? Should I be looking at something else, grammaticality, whatever it is, right? There are many different measures of success, but many of the projects look at somewhat myopic view. What is the timeline that is given to a POC success, right? The timeline is generally 3 to 6 months, whereas the expectation is that if you really want to get something in production, then it will take about a year, year and a half, and so on and so forth. So there were mismatched expectations and issues of talent at every step of the way, because of which these products or these initial experiments failed. Also, it is important to note that AI is still under development. So GPT-4 came in, February of 2023, if I'm not mistaken, but it has constantly evolved. There were issues that were identified. The models have sort of improved over time. In fact, some of the early models are no longer available. And so if you really optimize something for one model, which is not your own, which is given by OpenAI or some other company, and they change the model on you, suddenly your workflow stops working. Then what are the checks and balances? The talk about trust is being said. That's a check and balance issue, right? You created something, you did not do careful experimentation, you did not do careful compliance check, and you want to see that it will work. These things don't happen this way. So I think if we want to really apply AI, we need to make systemic changes. And this is the time to make it, because I think our IT industry is going to slowly be metamorphosed into the AI industry. We will have AI in sort of every part of every unit in some ways. And so we will need to get more AI talent in. We will need to be more thoughtful about where and in what shape and form do we use AI. And then the question that you asked, which is how do we increase trust? And there are various ways to do this. You look at the fairness aspect, you look at the accountability aspect, you look at the transparency aspect. You also don't make AI automated and autonomous. You have a human in the loop AI kind of a thing. So AI augmentation of a human rather than AI being autonomous. And you create all these checks and balances. You check on compliance, you check on various facets. And when you do that, it will take more time. It can't be done in 3 months. But then you will have an AI system which will, in the long run, give a lot of returns. That's how I would say.
Fair enough, fair enough. That's clearly, he's laid out the roadmap over here of how to adopt AI. Whichever company, whichever sector you belong to, that's pretty much the blueprint. At this stage, before we go any further, Arvind, if I want to ask you, what were the biggest challenges that you faced when you first wanted to integrate AI into your business, adopting AI? Was it a matter of a lack of skills? Was it the upfront cost? What were the initial challenges?
So one of the challenges we face is to keep pace with the time. So I'll give you a simple idea, because this conversation can get very abstract. Earlier, we used to take about 3 to 4 years to get a car, right? 36 months it would take from start to the finish, and you have the next car rolling out. Today, what Tatas and Marutis and so on are asking us, can we do it in 18? And that's what the world is doing in China. So now we are gearing up as the original equipment manufacturers, supporters, to see, can we take a brief of an EV car or an SUV car or a luxury car from start to finish in the time required. Now, if you put that sort of timeline, AI actually supports you. In fact, AI is just the thing to help you with. However, people is the mindset there. Second, do we have, as you mentioned, the attitude and the understanding of AI as a supportive, as an augmentation opportunity, and not to be feared as a substitutive problem. And C, the ecosystem has to move in tandem. If one piece is pushing ahead far, the others are not keeping in step, then you have a problem. So these are more, I think, behavioral issues or organization issues or ecosystem issues and less tech issues that we have to grapple with. And if you don't move this really well, then we have a problem. And so I think the real deal is how to step up the human cultural piece along with the technological jump that we've taken to really give the best of AI. Otherwise, AI is going to actually become a bottleneck.
Okay. If I were to ask you the same thing, Saurabh, just to get a clear picture for all those who are watching this and they're struggling to integrate AI into their business, what were some of the initial challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
So the biggest challenge is, look, restaurant industry has always been a restaurant. It's a business with the soul. It's a human being, okay? And with AI, it becomes a little sterile. It's not, there's no warmth, there's no soul. There are a lot of these things. So what happens is that—
AI slop.
Yeah, so, and a restaurant business doesn't really function like this. Like I gave you the example when you're getting back to a guest in case of a complaint. Leave alone. I mean, if the guest is able to figure out that there's some, through the language only is able to gauge what is. So that becomes a problem. Secondly, even using AI, supposing you're using AI, you're generating certain likes, dislikes. It's quite, so because it's a very field-based business, AI makes it a little sterile, and I would say that's the biggest challenge here in the restaurant industry, incorporating AI. It can be used in different fields, forecasting.
But was a matter of skill? I'm asking you, was it things like lack of enough skilled people to even do it? The money that needs to go into it, were there concerns around them?
Well, yes, to an extent, but I would still say that there are certain aspects that can be done, more the purchase, the, factors which require demand, forecast, etc.
Okay.
Those are fantastic. But the mainstay of this business is customer interaction. So there it does pose a little bit of challenge. Yeah. That's the biggest challenge.
At least it's a challenge for now. You never know how it's going to evolve. AI is going to evolve to overcome that challenge as well. Talk to us, Abhishek. I want to ask you, SAP is an AI-first company, and here you are delivering the best of software, which cuts across all sectors, all kinds of fields. How do you, do this exactly? And more importantly, the moment you say AI, businesses right now, at least even businesses who are tending towards it, at least they think that it means that it's greater efficiency. Things get done fast. Things get done quickly. How does SAP deliver AI solutions that are far more than that as well?
Well, absolutely. I think one of the answers as to why SAP is so good is because we've been doing technology for the last 50 odd years. And we are supporting not just one part of the business, we are supporting the entire nerve center of the business. We're not just focused on, let's say, a customer or a procurement or inventory management or manufacturing or services. We're probably the only organization which is connecting all this for the organization. And what we have done even better now is that we have moved beyond the four walls. So even if I look at our innovation, I've been with SAP for around about 22 years now. And I've actually seen how SAP product portfolio has grown beyond the four walls, where we're interacting directly with the customers. You talked about the service industry where you are, or the tires industry that you have. So SAP right now, the reason why our AI or why we are different is because we understand the nuances of each and every business process. And that differentiates us from the rest. And we talked about, various, people think AI is just generative AI. Somebody talked about forecasting, somebody talked about machine learning, somebody talked about document generation, somebody talked about natural language processing. So our AI right now, our next level of innovation is agentic AI, where we're going to combine all these AI-related methodologies. And that's where we are different. We have an understanding of the business. We have an understanding what kind of AI we have. And now our next level of evolution is going to be how can we combine all these things together. And you're going to hear a lot more announcements from our side. And Sapphire this year, we have anyways announced 40-odd agentic AI. Right now, there's a TechEd that's going in Bangalore. You're going to hear more announcements from our side. And that's how we are different.
Okay, I heard you say the fact that AI is not generative AI. I can't emphasize upon that enough, because how many people in this country and the world keep thinking AI is a generative AI? Mausam, that's why I wanted to ask you, in the Indian context, there is all kinds of AI. There is generative AI, there is voice, activated, and then there is, chat bots, you name it. There's so much to do with AI. In the Indian context, what do you think, will gain the most importance? Where do you think the real value lies as far as Indian companies are concerned? What kind of AI?
Okay, let me answer that question in a minute, but I want to respond to Saurabh once.
Okay.
See, he says that AI doesn't have soul, right? Which is fine. Obviously, it doesn't have soul, right? We can argue whether we have souls or not, but that's a different question. I think there is an interesting case in point I heard somewhere that if the doctors have to tell a patient that they're about to die, the doctors are not taught how to tell a patient that you are about to die, right? Doctors are taught medicine, right? And this communication is really hard for the doctors. So what do they do now? They take the help of AI. Okay? Now, if AI was really not sensitive, then why would they take help of AI, right? So AI is what you want AI to be, at least to a certain level of, ability. And it is in the hands of an AI engineer to use the current technology in the best way to accomplish what you want it to accomplish, right? So if you came to me and said, look, we want AI to be sensitive to our users, and it is really not being sensitive, I would be able to relatively easily suggest a few things you might be able to try to get it to be more sensitive. But if you don't have AI experts on your organization, then it will be harder, right? So I go back to what I said earlier, that it is not, well, I'm sure there are things AI cannot do today. I'm not saying that AI can do everything. For example, on images and so on, it is a little bit behind that than on text. In large code bases, it's behind than on small code bases and so on. So there are some capability issues also. But by and large, some of the easier cases, especially in language, I think we can get AI to do what we want it to do if we try a little bit harder, and having a good talent will be important. Now coming to your question.
Okay.
So you said that where do we want to apply AI in India? And it is a similar question than the first question, as the first question you asked, that where should we really apply AI? I would say that, look, AI is a very generic concept. If you think about it, it is intelligence.
Also, if I may, my question was to ask the fact that, like, where do you see it happening? If you were to predicting the road ahead.
I would say that, again, I would say that it would happen on a case-by-case basis. It should be determined by the domain experts. See, it should not be determined by AI people where to use intelligence in what shape or form. If you are a person in a particular domain, let's take the case of healthcare, just as an example, because it's a general case, we all deal with it. Now, let's say you are in a village where there is no doctor whatsoever, and you had an opportunity to create an average quality AI doctor. Would you use such a doctor? I would say yes. I would go off on a limb and say yes. Maybe we want to create an escalation mechanism so that AI doctor also knows when not to answer and maybe passes it on to go to the city. On the other hand, if you are in Delhi, you have access to Max and Medanta and all of those top hospitals, and then you are saying that, okay, I have an average AI doctor. Should I use it? I would say no, don't use it. It is the case, it is the context that determines where AI should be used. On the other hand, if the doctor says, look, I am a good doctor, but at the same time, I haven't read all the journals in the world. There's just a lot of research that is coming out. I can't stay abreast every minute. Can AI help me in giving me other ideas of the diseases for this patient, help me brainstorm, give me treatment plans? I would like to use as an expert, but I will make the final decision. I would say this is the best use case for AI. So I think it is the context that determines where AI should and should not be used, whether it is voice directed. Now, if you go to a village and say, look, people are illiterate, but we have voice enabled AI, it's not perfect, but it's, let's say, 75% there. Should we use it? I will say yes, because you couldn't help those people earlier. At least you can help them to a certain degree, and then later AI will improve and you will use it, and so on and so forth. So I think it is the context that determines which capability of AI to be used in what settings, and the domain experts determine it, not AI experts.
Okay, fair enough. Fair point. It's the domain experts. So then let's take this question back to Saurabh. Then, as a domain expert, what I wanted to know is that you had two kinds of things. One is a heritage brand, and the other is a new age brand. Both of them thrive on innovation, and today innovation is driven by artificial intelligence. So I want to understand, what is the next phase? Right now, you're integrating AI to create efficiencies, to do things faster. What is the next phase of integrating AI, be it your brand or your product, so to speak, from brand to product or from product to brand? What do you see as the next wave of innovation driven by AI?
Look, hospitality industry is definitely a challenge, like I said, but speed is something that we've really been able to take care of with AI. Okay, as far as the next innovation that is required, because I said it's a touch and feel business, I would say that the next innovation would definitely be how to soften the interaction with the customer, trying to figure out what are his daily needs on a regular basis based on different day parts, morning what he needs, and forecasting that a lot better than what we're doing. Also, getting the, HR has always been an issue, the hardcore attrition. I think manning that, ensuring, using AI, how to control the attrition. I think these are finer aspects that we'd like to, or the hospitality industry will get into. But like you said, the right prompts, etc., everything works. I think there's a little more work to be done on that, but yes, it's possible. I would say that softening and customer interaction would be the next big innovation for us.
We can continue having this conversation for a long time, but I'm guessing we're completely out of time over here. I'm going to thank all the panelists for taking time to be with us. A huge round of applause for the panelists as well. We are now moving on to our next session, aren't we, Shweta? We have a very special guest now joining us. So, Shweta.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, all of you. We have with us the Union Minister, Shri Jitin Prasad is here with us. And so, as we delve into the future of India to paint a picture of India's evolved electronics and IT landscape, may I please welcome Shri Jitin Prasad, Union Minister of State, Ministry of Electronics and IT, and Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Sir. Requesting Rahul Singh, Vice President, Head of Marketing, SAP, Indian Subcontinent, and Prasanna Raghav, Senior Vice President, TV9 Network, to welcome the Minister.
Right, Honorable Minister, the stage is all yours. We can't wait to hear from you. Please, requesting you to take the stage, yes.
So which mic do I use?
You can use both of them, sir.
Thank you. Because, one of my conditions was that when I come to the program, I don't want to bore you for quite a long time, so I'll get straight to the topic and the issue, and I'm very glad that TV9 has invited me here, and of course Karthikeya had been an old associate and instrumental. Of course Hemant Sharma ji has been a long friend from my father's time to now, so this invitation cannot be refused at any cost. So I'm very happy and privileged to be having being invited here and to talk to such leading lights. And I've been told Mr. Deepak Bagla, Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Shri Rajiv Singh, Vice President, Head of Corporate Partner, SAP, Shri Partosh Chaturvedi, Managing Director, TV9 Bharatvarsh, Shri Karthikeya Sharma, MD News9, Shri Prasanna Raghav, Senior Vice President, TV9 Network, Shri Rahul Singh, Head of Marketing, SAP, and all those leading lights of the industry and stakeholders from the tech industry and the media and all those who are present in this hall. So the first thing I asked when I was walking down, कि भाई हिंदी में करना है या English में? So so they said mix कर दीजिएगा. Anyway, बात यही है कि आज जो ये समारोह हो रहा है और इसमें जो विजनरीज और जो हमारे फ्यूचर भारत के लिए यहाँ सम्मानित भी किए जा रहे हैं और उसके ऊपर चर्चा भी हो रही है और स्टेक होल्डर्स को लाया जा रहा है, तो मुझे इस बात की बड़ी प्रसन्नता है क्योंकि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो संकल्प लिया, आत्मनिर्भर भारत, मेक इन इंडिया, सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया एंड टेक इंडिया, तो यही एक मैं बधाई भी दूंगा और सराहना भी करूंगा TV9 नेटवर्क की कि ऐसे समायोजन होते रहने चाहिए। विभिन्न स्टेक होल्डर्स को प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे लाके विचारों का आदान प्रदान होना चाहिए। द इंडिया हैज़ कम ऑफ एज। वो ज़माने लग गए कि जब हम सिर्फ बातें करते थे, मगर अब ये कॉन्क्लेव्स मीनिंगफुल हो गए हैं। न्यू आइडियाज़, न्यू इनिशिएटिव्स, गुड बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस एंड द वे फॉरवर्ड, ये सभी डिस्कस किया जाता है। और ये आपने सुना होगा कि जब प्रधानमंत्री जी आए थे तो उन्होंने कहा था कि मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस। उसका मतलब यही है कि सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स, सिर्फ सरकारी नहीं, इसके ऊपर सारा बोझ इस देश को टेक्निकल फ्रंट में आगे ले जाने का संभव भी नहीं है जब तक प्राइवेट स्टेक होल्डर्स, मीडिया, हमारे स्पेशली द यंग, द रिसर्चर्स, द इनोवेटर्स, द टैलेंटेड, जब सभी लोग मिलके काम करेंगे तब जाके ग्रोथ स्टोरी बनती है। और ये देखने को मिल रहा है और सभी आप लोग जो यहाँ हैं, अधिकतर लीडिंग लाइट्स, सबको ये ट्रांजिशन दिख रहा होगा। एंड मैं कुछ ही दिन पहले एक ऐसे ही शो में, बहुत कम जाता हूँ मगर वो मिस्टर सत्या नडेला थे, द CEO ऑफ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, तो उनसे बात हो रही थी फायर साइड चैट पे। उन्होंने CEO बने 2014 में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट के वो, और 2014 में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का शेयर था $30 का, और 2024 में 10 साल में वो शेयर $30 से $430 हो गया। तो मैंने उनको यही बताया, फर्स्टली यू आर इंडियन एंड यू हेडिंग अ मल्टीनेशनल, वी फील वेरी प्राउड ऑफ यू, बट अदरवाइज देयर इज वन मोर ट्रेजेक्टरी एंड दैट योर्स फ्रॉम 2014 to 24 एंड द अदर इज प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदीज, दैट इज 14 to 24, कि इन 10 सालों में आपने शेयर प्राइस तो 430 कर दिया 30 से, और आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने इंडिया की ब्रांड वैल्यू 100 गुना कर दी ये 10 सालों के अंदर। अब जाते हैं तो देश की धाक है, सम्मान है और आशा भरी नज़रों से देखा जाता है। और मुझे भी दो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेदारियां, एक तो आपके IT एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, जो एक ज़माने में इतना महत्वपूर्ण पोर्टफोलियो नहीं माना जाता था मगर आज इतना निर्णायक हो गया है और इतनी उसका पोटेंशियल है कि ये जो मुझे जिम्मेदारी दी गई है, तो पहले तो शुरू करते हैं IT एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स से। और उसमें यही है कि जो भारत है वो हमारे यंग, द डेमोग्राफिक्स, वही असली शक्ति है। और यंग इज मोर अलाइंड टू द डिजिटल इंडिया विजन विच द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज फोरसीन, and the young are the ones who are very talented, and we call ourselves the talent capital of the world, we call ourselves the skill capital of the world, and we have both. So प्रयास यही है कि जिस हिसाब से भारत आगे बढ़ रहा है और आने वाले समय में वो अब कहना ये हो गया है कि एक the strength of a nation will not be judged by the amount of ammunition or you know the ammunition they have. It will be judged by the presence on the cyberspace. ये आने वाले समय का और अभी समय का कि ये एक बन गया है कि किस देश की कितनी प्रेजेंस है, साइबर प्रेजेंस है, वही उसकी शक्ति का एक बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण है। और भारत की मैं कह सकता हूँ कि 10 वर्षों में हमारी इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी गांव-गांव, घर-घर तक पहुँच चुकी है। ओवर 100 करोड़ पीपल, 1 बिलियन पीपल इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी है। उससे ज़्यादा मोबाइल फोन्स पहुंच गए हैं। 5G नेटवर्क 99% डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में हो गया है। द यूज ऑफ UPI, डिजी लॉकर हैज रीच फिनोमिनल नंबर्स। मैं अगर विदेश में बताता हूं तो इनके बारे में वो कल्पना नहीं कर सकते कि भारत ने इतनी बड़ी आबादी, इतनी बड़ी जनसंख्या के बावजूद इतना ज़्यादा पेनिट्रेशन और डिजिटल प्रेजेंस। मगर इसके साथ ही साथ जितनी डिजिटल प्रेजेंस होती है उतनी ज़्यादा साइबर थ्रेट्स भी होती हैं, और ये साइबर थ्रेट्स एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है। मगर सरकार की तरफ से मैं आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूँ आपके माध्यम से कि हम लोगों को सरकार में जो विभिन्न हमारे आर्म्स हैं, सर्ट इंडिया से लेके तमाम I4C और सभी इस पे 24 घंटे काम करते हैं और प्रयास करते हैं कि अपनी देश की जनता को सुरक्षित रखें। मगर एक डिजिटल लिटरेसी, उसके ऊपर भी आगे TV9 को एक कार्यक्रम करना चाहिए कि ये डिजिटल लिटरेसी एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण चुनौती है, क्योंकि ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के लोगों को अभी उतनी जानकारी नहीं होती है। डिजिटल हाइजीन, ये तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं कि लोगों को वो चीज़ें क्लिक नहीं करनी है, नहीं खोलनी, जिनके बारे में जानकारी नहीं है। तमाम साइबर थ्रेट्स हैं, तमाम प्रलोभन हैं, डिजिटल अरेस्ट की बात होती है, ये सब ऐसी चीज़ें हैं। स्ट्रेटेजिक एसेट्स को लोग साइबर थ्रेट्स आती हैं, मगर आम जनता को हम लोग प्रयास करते हैं कि किसी तरीके से कोई हानि ना आए और किसी तरीके से कोई हम लोग बिल्कुल उसके ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट कह सकते हैं। मगर ये ऐसा कर्व होता है कि जैसे होता है ना कि चोर और पुलिस का, कि वो पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं, फिर वो कोई नया साइबर थ्रेट निकाल के ले आते हैं, फिर उसका तोड़ निकालते हैं, फिर वो किसी को निकालते हैं। एनीवे, बट वी आर वेरी वेल इक्विप्ड और प्रयास किया जा रहा है। हमारे AI मिशन जो है वो 10,000 करोड़ से ऊपर का उसका प्रावधान किया गया है और उसमें बहुत बड़ी हम लोग बढ़त बनाए हैं, क्योंकि उसके लिए पहले अब CPU जो होता था कंप्यूटर, वो चाहिए होता था, अब GPUs चाहिए हैं। कुछ ही कंपनियां बनाती थीं और भारत आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हम लोग प्रयास यही कर रहे हैं कि ये टेक्नोलॉजी, AI, सेमीकंडक्टर्स, चिप्स, फैब्रिकेशन, डिज़ाइन, ये सब चीज़ें किसी चंद लोगों के हाथों में ना हो जाएं। जैसे एक ज़माने में क्या हुआ कि न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी चंद लोगों ने अपने हाथ में हथिया ली और बाकी लोगों को हाथ फैलाना पड़ता था कि हमें भी वो टेक्नोलॉजी दो। मगर इसके लिए हम लोग प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि इंडिया एक वॉइस ऑफ ग्लोबल साउथ बन के उभरा है और इसमें यही प्रयास है कि एक्सेस टू टेक्नोलॉजी, डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, तभी देश आगे बढ़ सकता है और ये विकसित भारत की परिकल्पना तभी पूरी हो सकती है जब ये सिर्फ बड़े शहरों तक ये टेक्नोलॉजी का एक्सेस नहीं रहेगा, हमारे Tier 2, Tier 3 ग्रामीण क्षेत्र की जनता तक को ये एक्सेस मिले और ये टेक्नोलॉजी AI इक्विप्ड हो। और ये प्रयास सरकार यही कर रही है। जो 3 मेजर सेक्टर्स हैं, एजुकेशन, हेल्थ और तमाम सिक्योरिटी के जो इश्यूज हैं, वो AI के ज़रिए हम उसको दूर करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। तो कोशिश ये है कि जो ये हमारे नियम और कानून बनते हैं, ये ज़्यादा कानून इस पे ना बनाए जाएं ताकि उसको हम ओवर रेगुलेट ना कर दें AI को। हम चाहते हैं कि इसको खुला छोड़ें और हमारे रिसर्च, इनोवेटर्स, यंग लोगों को एक्सपेरिमेंट करके नए नए चीज़ें बनाएं ताकि AI का इस्तेमाल हो सके। अभी ऐसी चीज़ भी आ गई है, आज ही मैं किसी से बात कर रहा था तो उन्होंने एक 22 साल के लड़के ने बनाया है एक AI मॉडल, वॉइस बेस्ड मॉडल। उसमें सवाल जवाब जब आप करेंगे तो वो इमोशंस, उसमें वो कंप्यूटर इमोशंस के तरह बात करेगा। तो ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ें आ गई हैं जो कभी जिसकी परिकल्पना नहीं की थी, कभी कल्पना नहीं की थी, वो हम लोगों को आज AI के माध्यम से प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि हमारा किसान खेतों में जब वो फसल की फ़ोटो लेगा तो उसे मालूम पड़ जाएगा इसमें कौन सी दवाई डालनी है, कितनी हेल्दी फसल है। वो मिट्टी की अपनी खेत की लेगा तो उसे मालूम हो जाएगा सिंचाई कब करनी है, इसमें खाद कब डलनी है। तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं। शिक्षा में भी तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो समय लगता था वो क्षण भर में हो जाएंगी। हमारे हेल्थ सेक्टर में जो आम चीज़ें हैं, क्रोसिन और ये दवा बुखार और ज़ुकाम के लिए ये AI मॉडल चैटबॉट ही बता देगा। अब हमारे डॉक्टर्स को समय मिल जाएगा मोर रिसर्च, मोर हायर कैलिबर काम करने के लिए। तो देश आगे बढ़ रहा है। सेमीकंडक्टर्स के लिए हम लोगों ने फैब्रिकेशन के लिए तमाम प्रोत्साहन PLI स्कीम्स दी हैं ताकि ये चिप्स जो हमारे ज़िंदगी के हिस्सा बन गए हैं, ये सब जगह चिप्स लगे होंगे। ये लाइट जो चमक रही है ऐसे नहीं चमक रही, इसके ये जो TV LED स्क्रीन्स वगैरह के पीछे छोटे छोटे चिप्स लगे होंगे। हमारे गाड़ियों में जो सेंसर्स हैं, दरवाज़ा खुल रहा है तो सिग्नल आ रहा है, गाड़ी गर्म हो रही है, बैक हो रही है, तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं। ऑटोमेटिक लाइट्स ऑन हो जा रही हैं अंधेरे में। ये सब वो चीज़ें हैं जो जिसमें चिप का इस्तेमाल हो रहा है। तो अब हमें आत्मनिर्भर बनना है उसको भारत में ही उसका प्रोडक्शन करना है, डिज़ाइन भी यहाँ करना है, पैकेजिंग भी यहाँ करनी है। बड़े बड़े प्रोत्साहन दिए जा रहे हैं, 50% से ऊपर PLI स्कीम्स में मैं कह सकता हूँ, और स्टेट्स को मिला लो तो कहीं कहीं 70-75% प्रोत्साहन मिलता है कि आप इनका प्रोडक्शन करें और भारत इन्वेस्टमेंट हब बने। तो दूसरा विभाग जो है वो वाणिज्य विभाग है, वो भी इतना महत्वपूर्ण है क्योंकि आजकल FTAs की बात होती है, फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट्स, बहुतों से हमने कर लिए हैं। UK से हमारा फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट हो गया है, EFTA कंट्रीज से जो स्विट्जरलैंड, लिechtenstein, तमाम उस क्षेत्र की जो हैं 4 देश, उनसे हो गया है। बहुतों से वार्ता हो रही है, न्यूजीलैंड से, ओमान से, अमेरिका से, तमाम जगह से। अब ये भारत, मोदी जी ने ऐसा एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया बना दिया है कि एक ज़माने में जो 140 करोड़ जनता थी वो सिर्फ जनसंख्या थी, मगर अब ये जनसंख्या नहीं है, ये एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया है। ये खर्च करने की क्षमता रखती है, ये क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स चाहती है, ये ट्रैवल टूरिज्म किसी भी देश का बढ़ा सकती है, घूमने फिरने खर्च करने की इनके पास क्षमता है। और अब देश सिर्फ मेट्रोज और ये 2 देश का जो डिवाइड था अमीर और गरीब का, ये कम हो रहा है और हमारे ग्रामीण क्षेत्र के लोग भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। हर घर में जिसमें टीवी था वहाँ फ्रिज होना चाहते हैं, जिसके पास मोटरसाइकिल थी वो गाड़ी चाहता है, जिसके पास छोटा घर था वो बड़ा मकान चाहता है। तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो बिगेस्ट मार्केट इंडिया बन के उभरा है। और महिलाओं के लिए भी, अब हमारी गांव की महिलाएं हाथ से कपड़े नहीं धोना चाहती हैं, वो हर घर में वॉशिंग मशीन चाहती हैं। तो जब हम अपने FTAs की बात करते हैं विभिन्न देशों से, तो बताते हैं कि भारत आगे बढ़ रहा है, क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स चाहता है। किसी देश के डंप प्रोडक्ट्स जो इंफीरियर क्वालिटी के होते थे, जो एक ज़माने में भारत के लिए डंप कर दिए जाते थे कि भारत के लिए सब स्टैंडर्ड और वेस्ट के लिए टॉप क्लास प्रोडक्ट्स बनते थे, वो ज़माने ख़त्म हो गए हैं। यहाँ पर भी हम लोग देखते थे साहब ये एक्सपोर्ट क्वालिटी है, मतलब भारत के लिए दूसरी क्वालिटी और विदेश के लिए दूसरी क्वालिटी, अब वो ख़त्म हो गया है। और हम साफ तौर से देशों से कहते हैं ये न्यू इंडिया है, ये नया भारत है, यहाँ हमारे आगे बढ़ने की भूख है, स्पेंडिंग कैपेसिटी है, कैपेबिलिटी है, हमारी पॉपुलेशन हैज बिकम द बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ इंडिया। तो बराबर से बात होती है, कहीं झुकते नहीं हैं और किसी तरीके के सब स्टैंडर्ड इंफीरियर क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स भारत में अब बर्दाश्त नहीं होंगे। तो तमाम ऐसी चीज़ें हैं, ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, यहाँ काफ़ी उद्योगपति भी बैठे होंगे जिनको हम लोगों ने प्रयास किया है कि सरलीकरण करें। ये जो पुराने धकियानुसी कानून थे, जो सिर्फ एक दफ्तर से दूसरे दफ्तर NOC लेने में ही लोगों का पूरा समय निकल जाता था और हताशा दिखती थी, वो ज़माने ख़त्म हो गए हैं। इट्स बिकमिंग ऑनलाइन, वो ओल्ड लॉज को फेज आउट किया जा रहा है, अननेसेसरी कंप्लायंसेस को ख़त्म किया जा रहा है, सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम्स लाए जा रहे हैं। मगर जितनी आसानी से मैं बोल रहा हूँ ये इतना आसान नहीं है, ये बहुत बड़ी चुनौती है, मगर इसको सरकार कर रही है। और ये सरकार, मोदी सरकार जो है, इसकी सबसे बड़ी शक्ति ये है कि देश की जनता, जिसने 3 बार एक के बाद एक राष्ट्रीय लेवल पे सरकार बनवाई, बहुमत दिया। मैं उसके बाद तीसरे चरण के बाद जो राज्यों में हुआ, हमारे हरियाणा हो, दिल्ली हो, महाराष्ट्र हो और अब बिहार हो, मैं इसलिए नहीं कह रहा कि मैं अपनी पीठ थपथपा रहा हूँ कि जनता इतना हमें विश्वास कर रही है, मैं इसलिए भी कह रहा हूँ कि दिस इज स्टेबिलिटी अक्रॉस विच इज बीइंग शोन बाय इंडिया, वेयर देयर इज जियोपॉलिटिकल डिसरप्शंस, देयर इज इंस्टेबिलिटी अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड। लोगों को पता नहीं है कि आने वाले समय में वहाँ कौन सी सरकारें होंगी, उथल पुथल मची है और कहीं युद्ध हो रहे हैं, मगर भारत इस समय में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में इतना स्टेबल बन के उभरा है। और स्टेबिलिटी का सबसे बड़ा फायदा ये है कि लॉन्ग टर्म पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोग्राम्स बनाए जा रहे हैं, कल के लिए नहीं बनाया जा रहा कि हमारी सरकार अगले साल क्या पता नहीं हो ना हो। यहाँ देखा जा रहा है 15-20 साल हमारे नौजवानों के लिए, छात्रों के लिए, कि उनका भविष्य और उनको वो कमियां ना से गुजरना पड़े जो हम लोगों ने और पहले पूर्वजों की है। उनके लिए एक ऐसा सुनहरा भविष्य तैयार किया जा रहा है, एक डेवलप्ड इंडिया का विजन से काम किया जा रहा है, लॉन्ग टर्म पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोग्राम्स पे बात किया जा रहा है, नो रोल बैक्स एंड नो शॉर्ट टर्म मेजर्स, नो रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव मेजर्स। इन चीज़ों पे अब बात हो रही है स्थिरता की और प्रोग्राम एंड पॉलिसीज विजन के साथ। और ये जब जनता का विश्वास होता है, जब मैंडेट मिलता है जैसे हम लोगों को मिला है मोदी सरकार को तीसरी बार, तब आपको ये जीवन में एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती होती है। और आप सब जो यहाँ बैठे हैं डिसीजन लेने की, एवरी डिसीजन इज नॉट ब्लैक एंड वाइट, but the decision making power is so important, and from a government's point of view, the ability to take decisions, strong, bold, long-term vision decisions are not easy. They are only taken when you have the support of the people of the country. And जो हमें जो समर्थन मिल रहा है देश की जनता से और देश की जनता का आशीर्वाद मिल रहा है, उसी की बदौलत कदम बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं, बड़े बड़े निर्णय हो रहे हैं, स्वीपिंग चेंजेस हो रहे हैं। जैसे मैंने अभी आपको ईज ऑफ डूइंग के बारे में बताया कि कल को कोई लॉ हमने फेज आउट किया बिकॉज वो अब रेलेवेंट नहीं है, मगर अगर सरकार कमज़ोर होगी तो 10 सवाल उठ जाएंगे कि आप ये तो कानून वो कर रहे हैं। मगर जब सरकार स्थिर होती है, जनता का साथ होता है, तो निर्णय लेने की क्षमता बढ़ती है। और आप लोग भी उसमें बड़े स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं। अपने सुझाव, मैं ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूँगा, मुझे जाना है, मगर जैसे जैसे मैं भी राजनीति में जब आया था तो बहुत कम बोलता था, मगर जब ज़्यादा जैसे समय निकलता गया है, मेरा भाषण का ड्यूरेशन भी बढ़ता चले गया है। मगर बात यही है कि मैं यही अंत में कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये सरकार जो है, ये अन्य सरकारें जो 2014 से पहले और उससे भी पहले वो अपने एक पथ पे चलती थी, ये एजाइल सरकार है, ये सुनती है, स्टेक होल्डर कंसल्टेशंस करती है, अपने आप में परिवर्तन लाती है, जो अपनी कमियां हैं वो दूर करती है, कमियां मानती है। ऐसे चलती है सरकार। जितने भी पॉलिसीज और प्रोग्राम्स हैं, खास तौर से मैं कह सकता हूँ ऑन IT एंड कॉमर्स, जो हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, उनसे लगातार वेरियस सेक्टर से कंसल्ट किया जाता है कि हाउ टू बी कंपेटिटिव। बट हम इतना भी प्रोटेक्शन नहीं देना चाहते कि आप विश्व में कुछ कर ही ना पाएँ, तो बराबर से चलते हैं। सो मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि मुझे यहाँ आपने आमंत्रित किया और मुझे अपने बात रखने का समय भी दिया। और क्योंकि आज मुझे जल्दी है, आप भी जानते हैं शादियों का सीज़न है और वो तो लाइफ टाइम में एक ही बार आती है लोगों की, तो पहुंचना बहुत ज़रूरी है। ये वाले कार्यक्रमों के लिए आगे और बुला लीजिएगा, मगर मैं अच्छा होता कि अगली बार जब समय होगा तो एक इंटरेक्शन करेंगे, ताकि मेरे एक तरफा वन वे कम्युनिकेशन ना हो, टू वे कम्युनिकेशन हो। आपके भी सुझाव, आपकी भी शिकायतें और आपके भी सजेशन सुने जाएं, ताकि जैसे मैंने बताया ना, ये एजाइल गवर्नमेंट है, उसके ऊपर विचार करके उस पर पॉलिसीज एंड फ्रेमवर्क बनाए जाएंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी लोग।
Requesting you to please stay on stage for just 5 more minutes. हम कुछ विजनरीज ऑफ विकसित भारत के सम्मान करने वाले हैं, तो requesting you to please stay on stage for 5 minutes. We have, thank you Minister for that powerful and clear roadmap. We're truly honored by your presence. We request you to stay on stage. Shweta, time now for the second round of felicitations, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the second round of felicitation of the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat. May I please invite on stage Rahul Singh, Head of Marketing SAP, and Paritosh Chaturvedi, Managing Editor, TV9 Bharatvarsh. And our first awardee tonight, please welcome Mr. Deepak Singla, Full-time Director, SPS Construction, a leader driving excellence in construction and infrastructure. Mr. Deepak Singla, a loud round of applause, please. Thank you. May I now invite and welcome the next visionary, Mr. Kishore Khanna, MD Romson's Group of Industries, a driving force in India's medical devices sector. He has strengthened the nation's healthcare backbone through innovation, quality and self-reliance. And to accept the award on his behalf will be Mr. Shivam Khanna, Director, Romson's Group of Industries. Mr. Shivam Khanna. All right, up next, our next awardee is Mr. Rohit Vasan from Stella Industries. Vasan Industries, with over 40 years of experience in personal care industry, he has built Stella Industries into a leading Indian contract manufacturer serving top brands like Unilever, Nike and Disney. And accepting the award on his behalf is Mr. Rishabh Vasan, Director, Stella Industries. More energy, more energy.
Huge round of applause. These are the visionaries of Viksit Bharat, ladies and gentlemen.
And up
They
next,
are the ones driving this country.
Absolutely. And up next, may I please welcome Mr. R.K. Goyal, Rajkumar Goyal, Managing Director, SLR Metallics, a leader shaping India's steel and alloy sector. To accept the award on his behalf is Nancy Goyal, Director, SLR Metallics. And the next visionary, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, is a dynamic leader who has transformed APL Apollo into India's #1 structural steel tube manufacturer and a global innovator. To accept the award on his behalf, may I please welcome Mr. Deepak Goyal, CEO, Apollo Tubes. And our next visionary is the driving force behind iconic brands like Denver and Vanessa. He has steered Hamilton's evolution from a fragrance-led company to a fast-growing personal and home care powerhouse, Mr. Saurabh Gupta. To accept the award on his behalf, may I please invite Mr. Rajesh Gupta, Director, Hamilton Sciences.
All right, next.
Up next, sir, we'll give you 2 minutes after. Okay, just 1 second.
1 second, 1 second. Sir, my submission is that GST ये रिमूव हो जाना चाहिए जिससे गरीब लोगों को चीज़ें सस्ती मिलें और इनकम टैक्स आप बहुत स्ट्रिंजेंटली वो पैसा इनकम पर बढ़ेगी तो इनकम पे आप अच्छे से कस के टैक्स दें।
बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद, थैंक यू। All right, may I please welcome our next visionary, Mr. Sohrab Sitaram, co-founder and director, Keventers. He's a seasoned entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in food and beverage sector. Mr. Sitaram.
We all have been customers of Keventers one way or the other in Delhi.
We all love Keventers.
Yeah.
And our next visionary is Mr. Anil Kumar Singh of APCO Infratech. He is a first-generation entrepreneur who built APCO from ground up. He has played a pivotal role in shaping India's infrastructure. Let me quickly welcome Mr. Chandan Sinha of APCO Infratech to take the award on his behalf. Our next awardee is a dynamic leader steering one of India's growing diversified enterprises. He has driven Bonlon's expansion across metals manufacturing, hospitality and civil construction. Mr. Arun Kumar Jain of Bonlon Industries. Accepting the award on his behalf is Nitin Agrawal, Director, Bonlon Group. And our last visionary for the evening is Mr. Dinesh Jain, the Director for Fibros. He's a leader shaping future of India's electrical solutions landscape. And accepting, of course, he himself, the award here, Mr. Dinesh Jain. And a last quick addition, if I may. Our next award goes to a driving force behind some of India's most critical highways and infra projects, Mr. B.S. Singla of Gawar Construction Limited. Mr. Singla.
This is the last one. This is the last one, sir, for sure.
The last of last.
That was the semi-finals, this is the finals.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Shri Jitin Prasad Ajidi, for taking time out to be with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for being very patient audience.
That's right.
The show is not yet over. We have a lot coming up, so I request you all to please be seated, to please still be there at your seats, because we're bringing a lot more conversations. We're bringing you a lot more, by the way, of brainstorming sessions as well.
And also the fact that, before we go any further, it's a good time to pause and think about all that we've heard so far tonight. Clearly, AI is not going anywhere. It might not be delivering the kind of ROIs one would like at this stage, but that's only because we are at a very, very nascent stage. You have companies, attempting it, piloting it. Some of those pilots, most of those pilots do need to take off as well, and that is where the future is, to figure out what is the right kind of AI for the right use case at the right stage, to scale, to be competitive, to create efficiency, all of which will depend upon companies like SAP India, which have been working so closely with homegrown Indian businesses across the country, isn't it, Shweta?
Absolutely, and I think that's the big takeaway there, that companies are experimenting with AI, and they are a bit scared at the moment of what AI can do, but I think taking it head on as far as the challenges is concerned.
That's right. Time now for the innovative keynote interview for tonight. And for that, may I please welcome somebody who is the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission at the Niti Aayog Government of India. He brings with him a distinguished career spanning multilateral institutions like the World Bank, Citibank, and even the private equity sector as well, with leadership roles across the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Deepak Bagla. Requesting Mr. Deepak Bagla to please take the podium.
He will be delivering an innovative keynote here.
All
Thank
yours,
you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, Rakesh. I was actually trying to convince him. I said, there have been too many talking heads. Everybody is going to get bored. It's time to have dinner and we should let you all go. But he insisted, so he's putting me on all of you. So you can curse me a little later. But I'll just share a few thoughts with you. I'm 100 days into this job. It's the Atal Innovation Mission. It was launched by the Prime Minister in January 2016. It's the nation's flagship innovation program. And what is very interesting is that I'm sure none of you knew about it. It's already the world's largest grassroots innovation program. And it's amazing that there is so much happening in India which we are not even aware of. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to you is because innovation is now going to be the next key element which will ride us forward, right? I'll give you a small instance of what has happened only in the past 7 days of my joining. One, it was a very good news on Monday. 2 of the young startups which we have nurtured in the Atal Innovation Mission have now been announced as the G20 Startups of the Year in Johannesburg. 2 of our young startups. And they're amazing stories. These are stories of young people from small towns and cities trying to solve small problems, which are actually problems which are right across the world, which have an impact. From a jackfruit tree to creating more vitamin D in food, or to create sustainability. Another very interesting story which happened last Thursday. 6 of our youngsters from a government school near Bangalore. The name of that place is Malleshwaram. were chosen for the Global Robotics Championship in Panama, which is like the Olympics of robotics. हमारे 5 बच्चे एक government school के, from very humble backgrounds. 100 से ज़्यादा देशों ने वहाँ पे they participated. We were in the top 15. These youngsters did not even have the money to get the ticket to go there. And you know what happened? So when I joined this place, I thought, let me try out the power of this platform for what it is. So we ran a hackathon. Everybody said that this is not a good time to run a hackathon. Diwali ki chuttiyan hai, Puja ki chuttiyan hai. People will not be there. But before that, let me backtrack and tell you, why is it the largest? That they've already put 10,000 innovation labs in schools in India. In the villages, in towns, in private schools, in government schools. They have incubators, which is the largest number, close to 100 incubators. और उसमें से 16 incubators हैं जो छोटे-छोटे शहरों में हैं, which are working with self-help women groups, which are trying to help out उनकी AI लेके कि how can that jackfruit export be made more productive, and I'll tell you about the jackfruit one also. And then they're creating innovation parks. They're creating accelerators, all being done quietly in a country. And let me give you some thought on when we ran this hackathon. समय ठीक नहीं था, कोई ज़्यादा advertising नहीं थी. Our Minister of Education launched it for us. It closed on Friday. Let me give you some numbers. 350,086 schools registered. 10,02,860 teachers. No single ad. 25,91,112 students. 293,821 prototypes have already been submitted. This is a new India which is coming up. I remember Saturday I was in my puja. I got a call twice. I didn't pick it up, unknown number. After my puja, I called back. It was a 9th standard kid from a village, a small town village in Rajasthan. One, he got my mobile number. And he called me to say कि सर मेरे पास 3 आइडिया हैं, टीचर सिर्फ एक देने के लिए कह रहा है, मैं बाकी 2 कैसे दूं? What we are not realizing, the power which is now unleashed, which is now waking up. The minister spoke to you about Viksit Bharat, and we have some amazing stories which you all have created. Look at these youngsters which are coming up. और ये सब बच्चे 6th standard से 12वीं standard के बच्चे हैं. They are from a small village in Jammu, they are from a small village in Kanyakumari, they are from a small village in Guwahati, from east, west, everywhere. And now what we are doing, we are adding 50,000 new schools, government schools, में ये innovation labs. You want to make a difference? Join this movement. उस बच्चे की जिंदगी बदल जाती है. And for every child, there are 2 parents, and there's a teacher, and there is a guide, and there's a mentor. And there is a new dream. And most importantly, there is a new solution which these kids are coming up with. And you know what? These are the solutions which are not just for India. These are solutions for the bottom of the world pyramid, not for the top 500 million. They're doing robotics and everything. They're doing the drone movement. They're doing it all for you. They're finding defense analytics. But this is also for the 7 billion of the bottom of the pyramid, which is where the impact of these solutions are. These solutions are very simple. These solutions are frugal. They're easy to execute. They're easy to implement. That is the strength of a new India which is coming up. 2 weeks ago, there was a conference and they asked, give 3 words which define India today. 3 शब्द. And the word which got to me the most was resolute, resilient, relentless. A resolute leader, a resilient nation, and both working with a relentless zeal. And in a world where everything is possible and nothing is certain, there is complete uncertainty around us, and the only thing which will matter for any society to take it forward will be the strength of its resilience and will be the strength of its relentless zeal, and that is what you are. The strength of India is its ability to get a job done. It was very interesting. In Davos, there was this discussion, and this was 2.5 years ago. And we were sitting around a table, and 18 global investors were sitting there. And one of them mentioned that he is going to double his investment in India in the next 36 months. And the other one asked him, why are you going to be doing that? And these are the biggest private equity investors of the world, okay? His answer was very simple. He said, the only country in the world where every tomorrow is better than today. And I was sitting at that table, and that brings me to the point when I bring to you the 3 words of resolute, resilient, and relentless. We all know the importance of leadership, and now you've already seen it in the past 4-5 months, how leadership is absolutely critical in steering anyone, a nation, a society, an individual, out of this entire transformation which we are going in for. We've seen that happen in the past decade, and the past decade has always been termed now by many global people as the defining decade of India. But let me tell you the story of resilience, and this is what I used to hear from foreign investors. My previous life, before this job, was an entity called Invest India, where we were responsible to bring investment into India. So we used to deal with all investors across the globe. You know, the most difficult time in our lives in the past 100 years, think about it. Kaun sa tha? You've all forgotten it. There was not even a thought you would be sitting in this room without a mask or even sitting together, right? The most challenging, difficult time in the entire world in our lifetime was COVID. The entire world was locked. People were not even sitting in the same room with their families. They were sitting in different rooms and everything. And while the world was locked, and a senior WHO official, I remember in March, had said the future of the world will depend on how India manages its COVID. And remember, there was no playbook, there was no experience, you had a leader, there was nothing to fall back on. And you know what all you did in those 20 months? You ran the world's largest vaccination program. You ran the world's largest medical support program. You supported 130 countries while we were all locked in. You know the 2 most interesting? Well, I'll come to those 2. You ran the world's largest food support program. 800 million people getting food to eat in those 2 years. The world's largest food support program in that lockdown. And you know what is the most amazing, which has got the world's attention, but none of us? You ran the world's largest water sustainability program, the Jal Jeevan Mission. And Jal Jeevan Mission meant to bring a drinking water tap to every home in a village or a city, right? Or tap water ऐसे ही नहीं लग जाता. You need to put a pipe, you need to put a meter, you need to bring in the water, you need to see how to take it out, you need to, you know, everything. It's a very complex exercise. While the world was locked, not stepping out of their rooms, you brought that drinking water to 90 million individuals. India did it. At the beginning of COVID in March 2020, 35 million households in India had a drinking water tap. In September 22, when COVID closed in, you had close to 90 million households. Each household multiplied by 4.4. 350 मिलियन लोगों को आपने पानी का टैप भिजवाया. One of the most complex exercises at a time where we were all locked in. And you know what was the most interesting? How when the world was locked and you were locked, yet you were trying to create the foundation of your future. March 2020 में 32 million depository accounts थे. Investment accounts. September 2022, 100 million. The world was locked. You were preparing yourself for the future. And now let us see just last year what happened. Last year itself, I'm not even talking, for those 10 years, which I call the defining decade, 8 of those 10 years, you've been the fastest growing economy on the planet. You grew at over about 105% total. China 76%. उनमें से एक साल तो छोड़ दो, कोविड था, इसलिए you were down, और एक साल we were number 2. You entered COVID by being the fastest growing large economy on the planet. You moved out of COVID by being the fastest growing large economy on the planet. And the most difficult exercise which was happened. Just last year itself, you were the fastest growing large economy on the planet. 16% of the world's growth, came from you. 16%. You did the most complex exercise on the planet which is ever done, which is celebrating your democracy. 12% of the world's population votes for your prime minister. You're 1 billion voters. And you did it. But I'll tell you something which touched me the most. Last year itself, 36 million people moved above the poverty line. एक साल में. वो जिंदगी बदल गई. They have a dream. They have an aspiration. They lead to a new India. When I give you my youngsters who gave it this, which was driven bottom up, it is a part of that aspiration. You are now closing in into one of the most important inflection points in your history. In the next 9,000 days, you will be 100 years old. 15th August, 1947. 8,800 दिन जो भी. You are now at the cusp of that inflection point to take that growth to that point. And what is driving that growth, in addition to those 3 R's, is the strength with which you are taking it forward. I'll give you a small example. See, the strength of India is what? It is its diversity. Right? The diversity helps us come up with all new ideas which are coming in and all varied ideas. I'm talking about AI now. For AI, you require data. 20% of the world's data is with you. You require diversity. The more diversity there is in AI, the better answers it will give you. Am I right? You require scale. You are the highest human, not population, resource on the planet. 1.4 billion. You will grow all the way up to 2060. That's when you will plateau. And you are the youngest on the planet. Your average age is 28. You will remain the youngest on the planet all the way up to 2070. And you know what happens when you have scale? Scale brings down the cost of an element very quickly. Data का जैसे हमने देखा था. I'll give you a small example of data. Data से आपने अपना UPI शुरू कर दिया. 2022, you were 41% of the world's real-time transactions happened in India. You did 46 billion transactions. China did 17.2 billion. 23, you did 78 billion. 24, you did 118 billion. Last month, only in November itself, you did 18.6 billion. Are you seeing the run rate? You've crossed 200 billion. Why did I bring you the UPI example? The most important thing which will take forward the success of a society is its ability to adapt to new technology and adopt new technology. Right? Adapt and adopt. UPI is one of the best examples you can see at any level of the economic structure of both adoption and adaptation. The moment the cost comes down, then starts the magic of that innovation. I'll give you one more example, which is core actually, very interesting. I used to be a banker in one of my lives before Invest India. I used to be with Citibank, which you mentioned. 2010 या 11 में, you know KYC is the most core thing of banking. आप सबकी KYC हो जाए. और KYC is an element which can be a big multiplier in doing any. अब ये OTP आ गया KYC वगैरह से. A cost of doing a KYC in 2008-2010 used to be anywhere between about 1,500 rupees to 1,800 rupees. You know what is the cost today? With the new technology which has come in. 15 paise. Are you seeing the magic that KYC can get created? Jeevan Sathi and matrimonial columns will also go away. I can lend to you directly on a platform without going through a bank. I can get your KYC. The strength of India is its scale. The moment you have scale, that cost curve comes down. And that is where the strength of all of you is. And with that scale, the last part, there's a 2D and there are 2 S's. The last is skill. Nobody better than you to do the skill. I'm just closing in now. When did we start talking about China in our lives? 2008, 2009? Am I right? We started, that's when it started coming up in everybody's discussion. What was happening in China at that time? If you look at the statistics from 2008-9 till 2016-17, China added 1 billion GDP dollars to its GDP every year. 1 trillion, sorry. $1 trillion to its GDP every year. I'll tell you the importance of this. 2014-15 में आपका GDP कोई 2.5 ट्रिलियन था. 2020 में 3.5 ट्रिलियन हुआ. इस 6 साल में जो 10 साल में 10 भी नहीं था 6 साल में जो 1 ट्रिलियन बढ़ा, उस 1 ट्रिलियन से 250 million people moved above the poverty line. That's the importance of your GDP. Now let's look at our GDP story. Your first trillion happened in 2006-07. 2047 से 60 साल में आपने फर्स्ट ट्रिलियन किया. सेकेंड ट्रिलियन आपने किया 2013-14 में. 7 to 8 years you did your second trillion. थर्ड ट्रिलियन 2019 में टच हो गया था, फिर एक्सचेंज रेट हुआ तो फिर 21 में आया. So on 4-5 years you did the second trillion, the third trillion. Your fourth trillion will be next year, which is again 3.5 years अगर कोविड हटा दिया. Now remember, your 8th, 9th, 10th trillion will all happen in less than 12 months each. Don't look at it as a GDP number. I told you when that life moves from below the poverty line above, it's a change of mindset. Just imagine that change which will start coming now. And you know what will drive the economy forward? And this is my last point, Rakesh. I know I'm going too much. We have 70 million MSMEs. The backbone of any economy on the planet is the MSME. 45% of my manufacturing, 40% of my exports, 100 million of my jobs, 33% of my GDP, all comes from MSMEs. Entire Europe was built on MSMEs, entire US was built on MSMEs, entire Europe, just to put it in perspective, has 32 million MSMEs. You are 70 million. this engine of India is now waking up. This engine needed three things to fuel itself. It needed access to finance, it needed access to market, and needed access to new technology. One of the fastest growing segments in India is the microfinance industry. Past 24 months, it grew at 86%. What it has done is it has gone into the crevices and being able to go to the micro and the small entrepreneur and be able to give him capital at 12, 14, 15, 16%, which they were otherwise getting at 22 to 30%. The most important thing is going to come now because of the digitization, because every time he gave you loan, he wanted your land or your house. They needed a collateral because we did not know your cash flows as a banker. Today with digitization, we know your cash flows. You know when the UPSC chart wala, they don't need to send a CA to count the number of pattals every evening, how much it is. Because every time it is done, it's done on a Paytm, they know it now. And they can lend to him. Remember the first, that big profit margin which goes up and that access. The second, access to market. Today it is not just in Amazon, but it is anywhere else they can hook themselves. And I have fascinating stories where my incubators are working with small women help groups in small villages. You know, jackfruit, which is now supposed to be a good wonder food or whatever it is. पहले 40 दिन में जैकफ्रूट का अगर इस्तेमाल किया जाए तो it is used for that vegetarian meat kind of thing. 40 से 50 दिन में उसका जो bulb होता है, it's very good for your heart. From 50 days to 70 days, the seed is very good for your blood sugar. You know what this young kid in this village school near Udupi has done? He's created a small AI thing जो पेड़ पे लग जाता है. It tells which part of the day you want to bring it, beat it down or cut it, and then to use it for what? The entire supply chain has been created and it is now one of the fastest exports. For any of these three things, ये हमारी self-help women कर रही हैं. The access to market and the access to technology. This India is now waking up. This new India is now a reality. And this new India, which they told you that every tomorrow is better than today, is happening. And remember, it's a resolute leader, a resilient nation, and everyone here working with a relentless zeal. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Requesting you to please stay on stage. I'm going to invite upon stage Mr. Rahul Singh, Vice President and Head of Marketing, SAP Indian Subcontinent, and Mr. Rakesh Kar, Editor, English Cluster of the TV9 Network, to please felicitate Mr. Deepak Bagla. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Mr. Bagla. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bagla.
Okay. And with that, it is time now for our final and a thought-provoking session. Once we're done with the photo op, obviously. Right, that's right. We've had everything from ministers to thought leaders to, business leaders, all kinds of people gracing the occasion. Thank you so much, Mr. Bagla, for being with us. Thank you for delivering that lovely address.
Session.
Yes, so many numbers, isn't it, Tishweta?
So many numbers, mind-boggling. Also reminds you of the power that Mr. Bagla reiterated of the mid-sized companies in the country. And the fact that they are the backbone of any economy, but more so of Indian economy, employing about 100 crore people, Krishna.
Absolutely, and that is the reason why we have Visionaries of TV9 Network's Visionaries of Viksit Bharat in association with SAP India. Our transformation partner is Deloitte. And time now to get on with the evening so that we don't get delayed for dinner. For our final thought-provoking panel, we delve into the core of sustainable growth, the complexities and triumphs of family-led enterprises, homegrown businesses, family-led enterprises, which, like mid-sized companies and MSMEs, continue to be one of the backbones of India's economy. This session is titled The Inheritance of Gain and Growth. So it's poetic in its title, and moderating this session will be none other than my colleague, Shweta Kothari. Shweta, all yours. Time now to also invite all the panelists on this discussion. We have Mr. Harsh Chopra, Family Business Advisor. Mr. Harsh Chopra, requesting you to please come to the stage. We have Mr. Nitin Jagtap, Partner, Deloitte, to please come and take the stage. We have Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, Managing Director, Insecticide India Limited. Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, thank you for taking the stage. And of course, we have Mr. Anushil Kaushik, Director, Inflame as well. Mr. Anushil Kaushik, please. Requesting you to please take the stage. Time now to explore the dynamics of succession, legacy, and innovation in family business ecosystem. Shweta, all yours.
Thank you, Krishna. I know I'm the last obstacle between you and the dinner, so I'm hoping to make it conversational, while also hoping that we can, gain something out of what is to come as far as the family business is concerned. Now, so before I begin, with a show of hands, how many of you are second or third generation entrepreneurs, which means there's a family business, that you are a part of legacy business? Show of hands. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and everybody else is first generation entrepreneur? I'm assuming everybody else? First generation? Third generation. All right. So anybody who has been a part of a legacy business understands that it's not just about gain and growth, is it? It's also to do with the fact that when you're carrying a legacy forward, there are risks associated, there are challenges, there are responsibilities. There's the idea to transform without changing the business model too much, because after all, your parents worked very hard to bring company where it is at the moment. And so with that, let me quickly kick off by Harsh Chopra ji, who's sitting on my right there. Mr. Chopra, when we talk about family business and a succession plan, what does it mean to ensure continuous growth? And for you personally, when you are to chart out a plan for succession, what would be those integral parts of succession plan that you think must be incorporated into every family, which have generations joining them one after the other?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, succession should not be looked at as a one-day event. It's a journey. It's a 5 to 15-year journey. Can I take a minute to just step back? When you talk about family businesses, not many people realize that 70% of the listed companies in India are family managed or family controlled. And 75% of the employees in the organized sector in India are family business employees. It's not just Ambani, Adani, Tata, Birla. It's the small mom and pop shops. And they contribute 70 to 79% of the GDP of India. Just an interesting statistic, in the United States, the percentage of listed companies controlled by families is only 33%. In India, it's 70%. There are 2 models in succession. Ek to hota is the Queen Elizabeth model. She'll work till 96, and when she dies, only then the next generation comes in. But at the age of 96, the next generation is already 70 with a walking stick and white hair. That's the generation where the founder is so obsessed with his success, and rightly so, because he's built the business from scratch. He's so obsessed that he will die with his boots on. So that needs a different succession model.
Okay.
And the second succession model is people who by the age of 60, 65 say, okay, ab mujhe chhod do, mujhe Char Dham yatra karni hai. Maybe he has a compelling reason. Maybe he wants to build a cancer hospital in his mother's name. Maybe he's a Bill and Melinda Gates type of founder who has another plan. He's off the board of Microsoft. He's off all his operational responsibilities, and he's only focusing on running this NGO.
Right.
So that's the second model. And the approach has to be different between these two. You know, the first one, where the founder's going to die with his boots on. And the second one, where he says, by 60, 65, I want to make a move and I want the next generation to come in now. So over to you now.
No right or wrong model.
Very good point. You know, there's no right or wrong in this. Jo hai, so hai. You have to actually deal with it.
Okay.
There's no right and wrong. So every founder is different, and when I work with different families, I first see, you know, each solution has to fit the bill for that particular family. You cannot have a template which can be fitted
Absolutely.
into, family and family. And I'll come later in a little. There are 5 or 6 steps, because when you're looking at a succession in a family business, it's like I said, it's a journey. It's a 5 to 15-year journey.
Okay.
It's not a one-day event that you hand over the keys to the kingdom. And the last point I'd like to just make, Hugh, before I pass on the mic to you, is that it is the responsibility of the founder to initiate succession. The next generation will never ask the founder, Dad, mujhe gaadi ki chabi kab de rahe ho? It is the founder who has to do this, and he has to plan it step by step by step. And there are 6 steps in it. So over to you.
Right. Anushil, I think you'll agree with that. You know, from my initial conversation with you, you're somebody who's lived in Germany, educated in Germany, speaks more German than perhaps in Hindi or English. So for you to be brought back into the family business must have been a thought that your father had had for a very long time. So what did it really take you to come back?
Well, hello?
Yes.
So yeah, my dad and my uncle both tried for 3 years, 2 years before I finally came back. And the thing which really touched me was that my father told me that Britishers have made our mentality in such a way that we think good job, or if you are an IT graduate, what do you want? A 1 crore rupees ka package chahiye. But what he really taught me was ki you should create employments. That's the next big thing in India. And you should be responsible for the growth in a certain way. And that should be accountable for the nation. And that really touched me, and I decided to come back.
Okay. And since then, you are a second generation
Yes.
entrepreneur, you know, and representing Inflame as a director. What sort of changes have you brought into the system? Or are you still getting a feel of the system before you start changing things?
See, in India, what I think is different from Germany is the culture of clarity. People are, especially in family businesses, everyone is a thinking mind and they have different ways of doing things. So it is better that the system speaks, which generally happens in the Western world. So all my efforts is to bring that discipline and make sure that everything runs in a proper system rather than in a haywire direction. And this is the problem in small and medium scale industries in India.
All right, so you're bringing discipline.
I'm trying.
All right, Dad will like that. All right, let me quickly also get in Mr. Agrawal here, who is a third generation entrepreneur, has moved away, you know, from traditional family business to build an agrochemical business, which has a huge turnover today of almost 1,100 crore rupees. So 2,000 now. Okay, so numbers have not been updated online on internet, but you know, what made you pivot from your family business, and why did you not decide to carry on with the legacy?
That was a story, because sometimes I think my grandfather was a great visionary, but somehow he had 5 sons and he was not able to make a split between the 5 sons. So at different stages there were partitions. Some of my uncles moved out, and we were, I along with my father were handling the family business, and our youngest uncle was with us. So a little unfortunate, but one day we decided that there has to be a partition in the family. And then since I was elder, I was looking after the family business for almost a decade, we decided that we'll move out of the family business, start from scratch. So literally we folded the carpet of our drawing room, made our office, and started from there.
So no succession plan there, decided to move altogether, pivot altogether from the family business.
Yes, there was a confidence that we can create because my father was a great marketeer, very, very popular. I had the challenge because when I joined, so very traditional business, Lala ji ka pota aa gaya, dekhte hain isko. तो yes,
but लाला जी का पोता को पता है क्या करना है क्योंकि सिखाया है पिताजी ने.
हाँ, खून में है, देखा है आपने बचपन से. You know what are the challenges because when you are in the joint family, everybody speaks differently. और वो सोचते हैं बच्चा इसको क्या समझ आएगा, बात कर लेते हैं. So you get an understanding कि what are the human thoughts because that day people used to say life is very difficult, business मुश्किल होता जा रहा है हर दिन. आज भी लोग यही बोलते हैं बिजनेस मुश्किल होता जा रहा है, but you have to find the ways, do the things, and it is not only the problem with the senior people, it is the problem with the children also today. What they want to do they need, or is there a will to create the capital? Is there a will to create a legacy, or is there a will they just want some money and invest in the share market or do something else and try to make money from somewhere else? So that is also one big challenge actually, which most of the Indian businesses are facing. When we talk to Japanese companies, they will say, I have come after 150 years, 125 years legacy, 200 years legacy. But when we look at India, we don't have examples of 50 years. So 2 generations and things failed. So it's a big challenge what our country has to face. We as entrepreneurs need to decide how do we need to create a succession that goes smooth, and there should be the right people who can run those businesses, do the things. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. And another challenge that we have, Nitin, is digitization. And the reason I'm talking about it is because while new age companies are fast adopting technology and going digital, as was also pointed out in our earlier session, legacy companies are finding hard to adopt last mile digitization. What's exactly happening here?
So yeah, there are, we as a consultant, we always deal with plethora of clients and spectrum of clients, and obviously the family driven businesses are one of the major chunk which we also target, right? Now, there are certain sections who adopt this very early, particularly the second, third generation who has got the wave of digitization, foreign graduated, they try to bring in that. But still, the controls, the old traditions or culture is also an impediment sometimes in between, because the way the first generation has brought this company to this level, it has established itself a new brand, well-recognized brand, and there are margins flowing really well, right? They don't want to tamper all those things, right?
And it happened in absence of technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
With minimal interference.
Absolutely. So they
they
are of the
don't
strong
understand.
opinion that all this we have done without anything, spending crores and crores onto the technology front. Why we need? What difference is going to bring? And establishing a business case in front of the first generation sometimes becomes very difficult, right? So that's what the impediments are. But yeah, collectively we are trying to showcase use cases and everything to turn around things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that helpful?
Yeah, it's happening, and because the way Mr. Bagla also spoke about, right? I guess digitization is gonna be an absolute essential thing, because now people are talking about AI, right? If I pivot towards that direction, and AI cannot happen with the proper data flowing into your processes and systems, right? And at least even the first generations are now talking about AI, if not digitization, but AI. Yeah. So as a backbone of digitization, it's happening. It's playing a role, right?
All right. Harsh Chopra, as we move towards a Viksit Bharat, and in your assessment, what are the strongest possible drivers of long-term growth that perhaps today's leaders can pass on to the next generation?
So, in my experience of meeting over the last 10 years, a lot of promoters, those that really move from generation to generation, and so you mentioned the Japanese companies. There's one Japanese company which has survived for 46 generations. और उनका एक rule था that one male member of the next generation, whoever shows the most passion for the business, he'll be selected to run the next, as the next generational head, and all the others will take up jobs outside. So the business doesn't get divided. Exactly the same rule was there in an Italian family which ran for 26 generations. They still run. They run a vineyard in Italy, a very famous vineyard, the Anginori family. And there the rule was, and every family has its own rule, and like you said, there are no rights and wrongs in this.
Right.
Unka rule tha ki the eldest son will inherit the business across all generations. Now in the 26th...
And only son, right? Let me, I don't see many women here. I see 1, 2, 3, and 4th here on stage, so only sons.
Yeah.
Is that still the case? Because I see that happening. I think women in the room can agree with me, or will agree with me when I say that there are very few examples of legacy business being passed on to women till date.
That's a fact, that's a fact. This generation, I see a change. Just yesterday, I was talking to one of the promoters, and his question was, can I involve my daughter-in-laws in business? Can I bring my son-in-law in business? If my daughter is going to run the business. So, this has to be agreed, and there are no rights and wrongs. Harek ki tradition apni hai, Jain families, who maybe 50% of the business in my clients, half of them are Jains. They run 50% of the business in the country. So they have a little more conservative outlook. Marwadis are a little more conservative. So there are no rights and wrongs, jo hai so hai. But in one of the things, successful family businesses I've seen, one criteria for success is this. And hear me carefully, because this actually works. The leadership style of the founder has to change from command and control and micromanagement to trust and delegate, and give space to the other generations and to give, as the organization grows, to the HODs. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to attract and retain the best of class talent. If you look at some companies which are very successful in India, family businesses, Dabur, Marico, Vimco, Murugappa Group, probably the most professional in India. All of them give so much space to their best professionals that professionals love to work with them. Whereas those who are micromanaging and tell him, acha, yahan se utha ke wahan rakho, ab ye karo, ab wo karo, and even for a 100 rupee bill you need the signature of the owner, then they don't stay long.
Some of these names, right, they are the most prominent in the digitization journey as well, right? And that's where the talent is coming, being attracted as well, right?
All right, all right. So, Rajesh Agrawal, coming to you. Let's talk about challenges a little bit. So the challenges that perhaps you have also faced as a third generation entrepreneur could stem from structural challenges, capital flows. How do you overcome these challenges in order to ensure that the business momentum keeps going? Because you can only pass on something as a legacy if there is enough and more drive in that business, if it has an opportunity for the future.
So what we did was the innovation. We are into agrochemicals. And I always believed that if I am able to bring the new solutions to the market, they will definitely be liked by the people. We can create a brand, we can go to next level. So we were always investing. So for bringing the new pipeline, we needed the customers pipeline, creating the customers, spending on marketing. All these things were going on. There were phases when we were doing large expansions or we were putting big industry. So once that phase came into my life, somewhere in 2012-13, when I made a huge investment, it was an industry. So I'd heard in my childhood, industry means indust and try. So that was the real that phase when my position was very, very tight and I saw myself delaying the payments, just managing my working capital with great difficulty. But that day I took a pledge that I'll clear off my bankers in 2 years and I'll work very hard and we will keep on discussing with the core team and create different type of products, different type of momentum in the market, and we were very successful in doing that. But the real challenge was when I had to bring my son from USA.
Bring yourself back?
My son.
Your
my son who was studying
from
in
the
USA.
US? Okay.
So, though he never said that I'll not come, but somehow there were some of his friends who told their fathers that we are not coming. So a big challenge.
Yeah.
I thought, what infrastructure I got 30 years back, if I'm able to give the same infrastructure to my son, will he be happy? Will he continue with me?
Yeah.
And for how much time he would like to continue? So you had to do the digitization. Go to the digitization of next level. We are a marketing company because we market our products through our distributor network across the country and in the world. So we have more than 8,000 accounts to deal with. So SAP, we were on SAP for more than 15 years, but S4HANA was something which I started because I had to I took Salesforce. I used Microsoft for the dashboards. So a lot of things I started doing, and it was not only that in the systems or SOPs, because what happened is the team started with me, because when I joined the family company, most of the people did not like the change. So I had to throw out many people, and that time the business was
The
small.
technology change.
So yeah, technology change
was
also,
uncomfortable.
automation.
Hmm.
People were having old mindsets. I became the head of sales after say a few years, 3-4 years. I changed the total sales team. I changed everything, and we started getting the success.
I mean, that's
But
an important
what
takeaway.
happened is
Yeah.
that they same people, they came to me when I started afresh.
Okay.
So
okay.
today, the people who started with me 30 years back, they are nearing the retirement. So that is one challenge. How to bring the new talent pool in the company,
Right.
and set them. At one time, I was facing a challenge in bringing a 10 lakh person. Now there is a challenge when you bring a person taking a CXO level people in crores.
Right.
So that becomes a challenge that we have worked for 30 years, and now the company has the capacity to pay crore to a CXO. So bringing the new people on different levels in the organization.
Finding the right talent.
Finding and then giving them space in the company.
To grow.
With the people who are the champions, who have been working for 25, 30 years with one process, and changing the mindset of everyone and bringing the new generation. That is also one challenge. So what we targeted with my son is that, okay, we'll work more on brand, we'll work on profitability, we'll work
So
on
he
the
had
product.
conditions.
Yes, so no, they were not the conditions,
Right.
but we planned.
Okay.
Because I had to give him something, and we could very successfully increase our profitability by almost 60-65% in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And the plan is to double next year.
Oh, wonderful. That deserves a loud round of applause. That does. Did you have some conditions before you joined the company that this is the kind of change that I would want and this is what I would like to focus on? When I joined Anushil, did you think that this is the roadmap that I would like for Inflame, and I would only join if that roadmap is clear? And because you came with a lot of global experience as well, what part of that global experience did you want to implement at the soonest possible level?
Well, I didn't come with any conditions. I just came and I
Okay.
started understanding the conditions, because, as I told earlier, India works very differently.
Right.
So it took me an year at least to understand what's going on, how things are running. I used to call constantly to my dad and my uncle. They used to give me advices. And once I got to know everything, the implementations were again simple. See, technology for me is beyond having expensive softwares and devices. It's actually solving the real problem. At the end of the day, I want a better quality product. It should be made faster, the takt time should reduce, and our rejection should reduce. So technology in helping me making a better product is what I focused, and that could be also a simple digitalized process map or value mapping. And this is what I tried to bring in. I'm saying it again and again, but that's the clarity what you need to focus on.
Right. You know, also because, as I said, you have global experience, did you face some sort of red tapeism here that you are not aware of, you would face in Western countries? Because the systems are a little bit slow here.
Yeah, it can get frustrating,
Okay.
I won't lie. And yeah, I have heard it a lot as well. But thankfully, I was trained very well with by my family. They were constantly supporting me, and that's the reason I had this advantage of learning it pretty quickly.
All right, that's lovely. Nitin Jagpat, when organization wants to transition and they come up with various organizational change management plans, what are some of the key challenges in your opinion they face when they do so, when they are trying to create a roadmap for the next generation to take over?
So absolutely. So change management, actually, most of the time people feel that they can manage it themselves. So there is not a culture that the change has to be managed by someone professional, right? So first, that's the biggest impediment, I'll tell you.
Get a professional.
Get a professional for that, right? And that's how it can be driven as a program, the way we drive any program, right? Sales acceleration or any IT digitization. Change management is also like that. To communicate that way, is to message that way, brand that change accordingly, and give comfort on whatever things people are having in their mind, right? So that's the program. So I guess that's the primary impediment in this.
All right, and you know, I have very few minutes left, so let me quickly go back to you, Harsh Chopra. Every person brings in their distinct working style into the company. So I'm not sure if you have a plan for the future prodigies of yours to join the company, but if you are looking to hire somebody to replace you, be it somebody in your home, in your family, or outside, what are the key areas of competence that you will be looking at?
That's a good question, because you know, mostly succession is within the family up to a certain size.
Yeah.
When companies go beyond a certain size,
they become bigger.
They become bigger, then you know, they're not necessary that somebody from the family will be able to fit the role. So you have to decide whether the family tradition is going to be important for you, or whether the capability is going to be important for you. And one thing in closing I'd just like to mention is, so सबसे बड़ा challenge है, why India you don't have going up to 20 generations and 30 generations, is that by the time a family comes to the third generation, there are so many cousins, a consortium of cousins who manage the family, they get in each other's way. There are a lot of crossed wires. Every family I worked with. So you need to have a very clear governance structure, a family charter. Who's going to do what are the principle of compensation, what kind of cars. You can't have a younger son getting a longer car. That can break the family. Should relatives be vendors or suppliers? And these are very, very careful things, you know. And there are some cases, let's say you might have, 3 partners or 3 brothers starting. By the time it goes to third generation, let's say the head of marketing role in one company I was working with, the eldest son was very keen to get the role, and the second daughter, who would come from overseas, she was very keen to get the role. Now, who's going to decide who's the best fit for the role? Because the decision is very emotional.
And placate the other one as well, who doesn't get the role.
And yes, the girl's mother, she said, "Agar usko nahi marketing mili, to main to zehar kha ke mar jaungi." So it became a very emotional issue. It was not a capability issue. That your experience ka hai, you sitting as a professional recruiter, you say, all right, this is your CV, your experience. Who's going to work? Kaun sa acha best fit hoga? The decision is very emotional. People will split on a small thing like this.
So they say don't work business and emotions, but this is exactly that.
This is
and
exactly,
a bad mix.
The biggest challenge in a family business is this mix of emotion and business. Because how do you take decisions in terms of capability without allowing relationships to cloud your judgment? Ye bahut hi mushkil hai. And I've worked with some of the biggest families and the very small families, the mom and pop shops, same issues there.
Yeah.
So unless you have a clear set of governance rules in the third generation, you are not going to be able to manage. Half your time and energy will be spent in managing the crossed wires within the family.
All right, thank you for that nugget of wisdom. Mr. Agrawal, we know that agriculture is the backbone of India's economy. So if I were to ask you to share with us 2 to 3 key drivers that you would like to share with the next generation of entrepreneurs in agri and agrochemical businesses in similar industries, what would they be?
I would say ours, from a distance, looks like a very village-ish type of business, dealing with the uneducated people, you may feel. But as there was example being quoted about this UPI, I would also try to give the example. In India, the new generation solutions came. And they became 1,000 crore plus in a matter of 2 years, whereas 5 years hence, it used to take 10 years. So I mean to say that our farmer is adopting the technology, and every consumer, he needs a solution, he don't need a product. If you are able to provide him the solution, take it to the right customer at the right time, and you are able to educate, then yes, the product can become a super hit.
All right.
So this is something, and perseverance, because that I always talk, that people don't know these days about the hand pump. You do the effort, water don't come, and you go to second hand pump, third hand pump, fourth hand pump, and there is water nowhere. But अगर persistence से एक बार आप पंप लगाओगे तो पानी तो निकलेगा और तेजी से निकलेगा. ऐसा हो नहीं सकता कि हैंड पंप फेल हो जाए. Rare chances. तो that is something I say कि commitment से काम करो. आप joint family में काम कर रहे हो, अकेले काम कर रहे हो. Take it as your business. आप वहाँ से पैसा कमा रहे हो. You have to enjoy the thing, and apart from enjoyment, आप घर चला रहे हो, मतलब आई वॉज बॉर्न इन वॉल्ट सिटी. मैं क्या देखता था कि देयर वर लार्ज शॉप्स ऑफ लालास, वेरी वेरी पॉपुलर लालास, नंबर 1 इन दी मार्केट. होता था ये करोड़पति लाला जी, अरबपति लाला जी, ये लाला जी. What I saw in 25-30 years, Karolpati Lalaji has, the children are looking for jobs, 50,000, 60,000, 30,000. What has happened? Lalaji had half a dozen sons. He had a brother. He also had 4-5 sons. Now, Lalaji's business, 2 people were handling. Now there are 1 dozen. And apart from 1 dozen houses, they still again they have the children. Now, who will handle Lalaji's business? Because they have not increased shops. ऐसे में मुझे ऐसा लगता है, the people who divided, who opened the branches, people were kept at different branches within the country, within the state, outside state, they are able to fare better. Like my cousins, because I told you that 5 brothers, so all my cousins are handling different companies. We are arch rivals. But at the same time, we are the best of friends. Because everybody has his own company, handling his own company, and people are happy.
All right.
So it's the way how you look at the succession.
Absolutely, how you look at succession and how you persevere. You know, it reminds me of a famous Hindi proverb that says, "Kaun kehta hai aasmaan mein surakh nahi ho sakta, ek patthar to tabiyat se uchalo yaro." I think that is what we need as far as taking the family business forward is concerned. But Nitin Jagtap, before I wind up this session, I have to ask, there's a lot of conversation, of course, passing down the business to the right person. They may be a part of your family, they may not be a part of the family. How do you decide how to create a succession plan when you don't find the right talent within the family?
So obviously there is no one right or wrong answer to this, but yes, again the same thing. There are professionals, right? What Sir also said, right? So even to support the family businesses to draw their succession plans, right? Because that way, even sometimes there are mixed examples, right? It's not necessary that the suitable positions, directorial positions will go to the family members only. People try to create a mix as well, right? In the aspirations of the growth of the company. So there are mixed models, but yes, it's a difficult decision because it's driven by emotions most of the time, because heart and soul has gone into that. But it's time to come that the professional services, the more and more they come into the play, probably these plannings can also happen efficiently.
All right, and before I close the session, Anushil, one last question to you. Since you are one of the youngest here on the panel and you represent a family business, as far as skirmishes within families is concerned, when one person, multiple people are vying for the same position, how do you believe, as a young person in this panel, how does one go about solving those skirmishes?
I think communication is the key. You have to sit on the table and you have to talk, keeping your emotions aside. As all of you said, emotions agar beech mein aa gaye to things will start fumbling up. So technically, we have to talk on the table, that too in a workspace, not at house, and make sure that the things have been done in a proper way with the proper system has been followed. Plus, we all think that we are capable, but at the end of the day, there is, like कहते हैं ना हिंदी में कि सीखने की कोई उम्र नहीं होती. So the more open you are for learning is, I think, very important, so that you can make this legacy continue.
All right. I think that's very wise. Communication is the key, and that's what we are doing here as well at the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat. With that, I would like to end this panel. Krishna, over to you. A huge round of applause for the panelists, please. Thank you.
Huge round of applause for the panelists. Huge round of applause for all those of you who have gathered over here. It's been a wonderful, spectacular evening. We've had 2 ministers, thought leaders, some of the biggest visionaries of Viksit Bharat, the mid-sized companies who have taken time out to come over here. We'd like to thank all of you from the bottom of our heart. Of course, we will have to wait for the photo op as well. Right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out to be with us. And with that, we wrap things up for the evening, but we're not done with it. We will be holding more of these thought leadership conclaves. The next one is in Bengaluru, and the next one after that is in Mumbai. This is the first edition of the Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, TV9 Network, Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, in association with SAP India, transformation partner, Deloitte. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. We're done with it, aren't we?
Absolutely. But we now invite you to join us for a final round of networking and dinner, where the conversation sparked here on the podium and the stage can continue to flourish outside. This is officially us concluding the TV9 Network.
A resurgent India is racing towards the Viksit Bharat goal, braving global economic headwinds. Bulletproofing our economy from these uncertainties are Bharat's homegrown businesses. Powered by tech-led innovation, Indian entrepreneurs are truly scaling up, riding the next wave of disruption with Visionaries of Viksit Bharat, a series celebrating inspirational business leaders shaping tomorrow.